Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we've got a very special episode, a very special commentary track episode with two of the three amigos. Martin Short is not here, but Chevy Chase and Steve Martin are. From the Geek Dudes, it's Criss Fresh and Anthony Mitchell. How you going, guys?
G'day.
I'd prefer Dirty Uncle Mitch. Yeah, it's good to be here, Josh.
So am I the Chevy Chase or the Steve Martin?
Surely Fresh is Chevy Chase, isn't
The unlikable one.
That's absolutely. When he said it, there was no doubt I'm Chevy Chase.
I did think about that just before you guys came over. I was just going, all right, if I'm going to use this analogy, clearly Jonesy is Martin Short.
I could get used to this no Jonesy thing, though, Mitch.
Oh, really?
It's a welcome challenge.
He was invited. If you are listening, Paul, he was invited. Well, at least I told Fresh that he was invited.
He knows he was invited. Mr. Busy.
There was a sock sale on at Target.
Oh yeah, the anniversary's coming up. So we're in the lounge room. My family is down the beach, so we're not in the studio. We're in the lounge room on the big screen on the couch here. We've got an array of snacks here. It's a very rainy Friday night, and we're going to watch a bit of Return of the Jedi.
My preferred of the original trilogy, not the best of the three, but I think all of us, Mitch is older than us, Josh, but we were of that age of this was the movie we could see in the cinema.
Yeah.
So
all my Star Wars hype was built off the back of Return of the Jedi because that was where it was at. Like it was happening while I got into Star Wars.
So Mitch, as somebody in their 20s that saw Return of Jedi.
I was 11 when I saw this, so it was my movie. The others I saw, but this was the one I was hyped for.
Yeah.
Because the others were just around. Like I saw Star Wars when I was 5 and, Empire when I was 8.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like they were there, but this is when I had the Scholastic book. I had that 2 months before the movie came out, so I knew the story. I didn't care about spoilers back then. So I was just, for me, that it was a long 3 months till the movie finally came out.
Well, it's about to come out right now. So if you're listening at home, we're paused at the start on the Blu-ray here, the first second of the 20th Century Fox logo. So what I'll do is I'll do a 3, 2, 1 start, and if you're following along at home, good on you. But if not, whatevs. So 3, 2, 1, away we go. Now we're going to see. Has anybody watched this on digital? Is the 20th Century Fox logo still even there?
No. I have not watched this for years.
I've gotten to the point that I own this trilogy so many times and so much over that my digital versions are just pirated copies that I just want easily accessible, so I don't have to put a physical disc in.
Yeah.
Josh impressed me by putting a disc in. And
I do have a
Blu-ray
digital.
set.
I've got a downloaded copy. I think just because when I was doing videos for Steel, I'd have to pull clips.
Yeah.
And I just had a local copy somewhere, so I could just basically, have it. So
the Fox fanfare is missed.
Oh.
They could put it back in, but I guess we've moved on now, haven't we? Really?
Yeah.
Realistically.
I don't know when this is going to be up, but we're about to have Star Wars on TV with The Mandalorian, probably out by the time you hear this. Does a Star Wars TV show need a crawl, Josh?
No, but only because they've already ditched it. I would have said yeah. I still think they all could have had a crawl. I think Rogue One and Solo would have benefited from a crawl, and they kind of had a cheat way around it, I guess. But yeah, I don't find it needs to be sacred. I mean, they used to do it in all the video games, all the comics still. Like the comics still have it. Like they put it in everything. We've got a perfect device for those who came in late to pull in from the Phantom and stuff. Like just do it.
Suppose you need one for every episode. That would be the difference.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. I mean, will it even have a Mandalorian? Funny talking about the Mandalorian watching Return of the Jedi. Will it have a theme music, or will it have an opening?
Well, TV shows are dropping music, aren't they?
I guess they just kind of just say
Lost
I want the Rembrandts to bring out a song for it.
I remember Lost being that one where it didn't really have an intro.
It had a sound.
It had a sound like...
Yeah.
That was. I wonder if people... Because I know really old school hardline Star Wars fans don't necessarily like Return of a Jedi. It's the one with the teddy bears and blah. I wonder if people complained about there being another Death Star at the time. Mitch, do you remember there being any talk of not another
pumped.
one?
I was, well, no, because it was around a primary school yard with the only people talking. We were all just very happy to have some more Star Wars.
When I had Dale Williams on, he bought a bunch of old Starlog magazines in, and it was quite interesting because it was just like reading the internet. But they were talking about a movie that came out in '82, and I think there was a bit of like, oh, you know, another this, and oh, you should do this, and you do this. So I think, you know, someone is always going to complain about something. But
the Imperial Shuttle, my favourite design.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of it.
Now look in the background there, a second planet next to Endor that I'd never noticed before, and someone pointed it out.
That has to be added, doesn't it?
Well,
we are watching the
I don't
special
know,
editions, yeah.
But I mean, the special edition's a few years old now. But
we're
they were
watching the
talking
special of the special edition.
Well, they're just talking about Rise of Skywalker, this Death Star wreckage being not on the forest moon of Endor. They've got a name for this ocean planet that it's on. Is that the one that's just there? It's just been blasted.
Is it?
It's just been slightly blasted back that way, and I'd never noticed it until a couple of days ago. Someone said, "Look there, there's a planet right there."
I'm this many days old. Josh has blown my mind with that planet.
Yeah,
I wasn't looking for planets. I was looking at spaceships.
Yeah. I never noticed it, but I mean, it means nothing until all of a sudden the Death Star wreckage isn't on the planet that's directly above. So
I just love how clean everything is with the Empire and how nice it looks compared to the Rebellion, which is dirty. I love that contrast.
Nice,
like, you can see why people are attracted to the aesthetics of it with the 501st Legion and stuff.
It's funny that Vader gets a welcoming crew. I just assumed as a kid, I guess, that he just always lived on the Death Star, that he didn't have a castle and stuff like that. So it's weird that, like, I guess he's just sort of turning up for the first time. He isn't just hanging out here all the time. I don't know.
So I'm a big fan of shiny Vader. Like, when you watch A New Hope and stuff, and it sometimes goes from matte Vader to shiny Vader, and it's like, no, he needs to...
This is his most shiny, isn't it, really?
Much like the best of us, he needs his helmet polished, Mitch.
Got to look after your helmet.
Look how nice and shiny he is here. That's almost like a new suit. Like, he treated him... Treat yourself. Do you think he had multiple suits?
Oh, yeah.
Like when Marge Simpson would open up her wardrobe and it was all the same dress that she had in there. Does Vader have multiple suits?
I always just found it weird.
Now,
I always just found it weird that the Vader suit was on standby for Anakin to get burnt to a crisp. But like he got put into that hospital or whatever, and then there was just a Vader mask just kind of raring to go.
Like, is that the burn victim suit? Like, are there a couple of other people
like
in
after that they
suit?
had to go like, well, we have to discontinue that design now because
this dude's not cool with you rocking
the
his
angriest
look.
guy in the galaxy is wearing it now, so we can't roll out that design we spent 6 months on. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's a warehouse of them that they were all put on hold. Was she
so prophetic that he knew all of this was going to happen, including the burns, and he had this control suit ready to go? That was because I think in I don't know if it's still canon, but there was a book I remember reading, and Vader was feeling that the Emperor deliberately put him in a suit that partially immobilized him, just to sort of keep him in his spot. Speaking of immobilised, here's C-3PO and R2-D2 for another rollout in the desert.
I've never noticed how blatant matte painting that palace looks. And there's the larger door in the special edition. Which, they're talking a lot about unnecessary additions. It was always a pretty big door anyway, wasn't it?
From memory.
Have you played the Battlefront 2 at all? There's a stage where you can run around Jabba's palace. And it's actually really quite cool because you get a kind of feel for the geography of the building of like, oh, now I'm in this is where they park the sail barge, and this is where the Rancor pit is, and this is where the sort of the party floor is. And
because you've got the subtitles on, Josh, I never realised the eyeball thing that sticks out is speaking Huttese. And it just said speaking Huttese. I just thought he's gibbering in some sort of who knows what language. I didn't specifically think he was speaking Jabba's tongue.
I reckon that's just Jabba just makes everybody speak. I think he's a very lazy man. He just
What gives you that impression? When did you realise? I don't think I noticed for a very long time that C-3PO had a silver leg.
Yeah, I never noticed until
definitely later on. I think it was with a toy. Yeah. Like the 18 van with that grey bit. Never know.
No. But I'm confused on the A-Team with the grey van, because there's definitely an all-black A-Team van.
I never was allowed to watch A-Team as a kid, so I can't.
Oh,
really?
really?
No, it was too.
You're missing out.
Yeah, I've never gone back. There's stuff like you watch this in the widescreen and a Blu-ray. I see a lot of because I've watched this so many times as VHS as a kid in like this, the pan and scan. That you just notice. I just find myself, my eye always gets drawn to the background of all the crap that's going on in the background in Jabba's palace.
Bib Fortuna always.
They want
to
away go.
Yeah,
I like
I've got a Bib
the
Fortuna toy somewhere. Can't figure.
Yeah, I just picked him up.
Oh, did you?
Because I had Jabba on the throne and Salacious Crumb and stuff, and I was looking at it and I was like, I don't have Bib Fortuna. I can't not have Bib Fortuna. That creep.
I had the figure. I hated it. It was a useless figure.
So he's a Twi'lek, right? So he's the same as the dancing girls and the Hera Syndulla and all that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like the blokes got the roughest deal in that race, didn't they? Because all the girls are gorgeous and all the blokes are awful. It's like being being in Ireland or Latvia.
Like,
have you ever been to Ireland or Latvia? All the girls are gorgeous and the blokes are hideous.
Well, they're kind of like wangs. Like there might be a couple of attractive ones, but for the most part, they're all a bit off.
Yeah. But the disparity between how attractive their women are to how bad looking their blokes are. I guess why they're so angry.
I was just looking at the Gamorrean Guard.
That's an extra bit, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the widescreen.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of stuff where shots are framed. You actually see the framing of shots. Like, even just the dudes behind Jabba there. Like, I never even noticed that. And in the foreground there, because I'm so used to, they just block out that square around where 3PO is, and you just don't see all the other stuff.
So when you bought it on VHS and you could choose widescreen or 4:3,
Yeah.
I always chose 4:3 because in my head it was like, I don't want the little letter boxes, because we only had, you might have had a 48 centimetre TV, or at biggest a 68 centimetre TV, I think was pretty impressive in the mid-90s. And you didn't want those letter boxes necessarily. I didn't know any better. It was I want my screen
I thought it was weird. I remember going to the Virgin Megastore up on Burke Street once, and they were playing it, the widescreen one on a similar TV, and just getting transfixed by seeing the stuff on the other sides, because I just never noticed it before.
Because I remember they brought out the widescreen collector cards, and I was collecting those, and I showed them to my cousin, and it's like, oh, what's that? And it was a scene from Star Wars or A New Hope with the skeleton in the desert. And I go, that wasn't in the movie. It's like, yes, it was. We literally drove home at 11 o'clock at night to my place to get the video, to come back to watch it, and to see that, yes, it was there.
But you see the framing of the shots. There are actually some really good framed shots in this that I've never noticed, because it's always been in pan and scan. There's a couple of
the George Lucas shot?
I don't know. Or is it Richard Marquand? Yeah.
Isn't that the rumour that he sort of took over?
Is it a Star Wars Return of a Jedi commentary without mentioning Ula was able to come back and reprise the role nearly 20 years later and still looked in amazing shape? Because I wouldn't know a Return of a Jedi commentary without hearing that factoid.
But I mean, she's the perfect example of discrepancy between a really good-looking Twi'lek and a hideous-looking Twi'lek bloke over there. Because I don't think he's particularly ugly for his race. I think they're just all ugly blokes. There still isn't a better Jabba than this. They haven't even come close.
No. Oh, the one that popped up in A New Hope in the very first special is startling.
It's amazingly how ropey. But even like the prequel ones aren't amazing. Like, I'm still shocked. Like, I was so sure we'd see Jabba the Hutt in Solo, but I was going like, all right, well, is it going to be a really convincing look? Just like the dude in the front of the shot there. That they'd have a Jabba in Solo, but they didn't. So we still yet to see an on-screen Jabba.
But it's funny how much more famous the figures made characters, because you just saw Reyes. He means nothing in this movie. There's flashes of him, but you can't help but think of him.
But they were all the figures that I was really conscious of, because they were the later runs that, by the time you get Star Wars figures in the reg and they were $1 at the supermarket, they were the ones that were left.
So, Josh, were you a big collector of Star Wars as a kid? Was that your main toy line?
It was my main thing, but it wasn't. We didn't get them very often, though.
I didn't get this.
Droids feeling pain. Where are we at with this?
I guess
do they have pain receptors? I guess they do.
I guess they do.
Because 3PO is always freaking out that he's going to get hurt. This poor thing's getting burnt.
No, I
don't believe what I was watching when I was 11. This is this is horrific.
No, that's a lady droid, I think. Is the one who's sort of running the droid torture chamber.
Would you put her away, Mitch? You're a feisty little one.
On the Star Repo, yeah.
Like Gamorrean guards just chuckling away
do you
to
think,
himself.
like, in another room are all the fuck droids? Like, they're just...
So that's a medical droid getting pulled apart there, isn't it? And she's saying it's a protocol droid. So you can just put the program in any form.
Prop droid, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But where do we stand in... Can you make an astromech a protocol droid if you just put the programming in? Where are we at with this?
I'm
You think it's like a Windows thing? Like, as long as they can all run Windows?
Some programs
jailbreak
like it's like Mac, like you can't really run
After
iOS
a few more
on
droids, your other one just starts running really low and doesn't run.
I always like the design of that white torture
brutal,
droid.
I had that figure. Useless.
How good's the Max Rebo band though?
Oh yeah, I love the bit of the Max Rebo band.
Great toys too.
When I had Mick McConnell on, I think on the podcast, we were talking about whether they're sort of like whether they're a big band, whether they're like the E Street Band, and Jabba's paid them a lot of money to play, or whether they're just a struggling outer rim, take any job kind of bad.
I think they went to school with Jabba, and they're not great. They're not great.
He's throwing them a bone.
He's put on the most egregious change to the original trilogy.
It's so jarring, isn't it? Like it's. And the
it's
song
outrageous.
is noticeably worse. And look, the singers are singing into like a little ball, which I've never noticed.
Yeah.
Like a little floating microphone.
Boba just like, let's get a bit more fat on screen, just so
floating microphone there. I've never noticed that.
just so we can make some money.
Yeah.
But yeah,
John Williams didn't write this, I'm assuming.
Joe Yowza. Lapty Neck.
Didn't his son write Lapty Neck? And his son was in Toto, wasn't he?
Yeah.
John Williams' son.
Oh.
Like, it's so creepy and makes the scene so much stranger, where this just is too cartoony.
Yeah, it's just...
I swore I saw boobs when I watched this the first time.
Well, there was that
wishful
urban myth that her boob
You
popped
saw
out,
what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was not cool with Jabba's Palace as a kid. Like, it freaked me out in the cinema. Yeah, and they're just a bunch of just jerks who hang out in Jabba's Palace. They'll turn on you in a second. One minute you're dancing and they're cool with you, but next minute they're laughing and ready to watch you get eaten by a rancor.
I mean, she knows. She's been there long enough. She's worked long enough. Seen enough people go down that pit.
She's one of the ones that probably stood around dancing, laughing
Yeah,
as
just
people
kind
were
of-
getting
I just
thrown
play
out
it.
there.
Play it cool.
Eating frogs.
But Jabba is an impressive puppet design.
I remember watching the making of back in the day, and it was like, 3 or 4 people in there
The little
making it
person
go.
in the tail or something wasn't there as well, yeah.
We'd put Jonesy in the tail if we had to. Chewie with his hair out.
I always did like he was a bit more dishevelled in this Chewie. It almost looked like his hair's styled a little bit more, like he's got like a centre part going on.
It was the 80s.
Yeah.
So was that Billy D's son?
Oh, he's on the sail barge. He might be in the... No,
This is a figure I did love. The Bosch figure.
Yes. Yeah.
Except the head was so small to make the helmet work.
Now, I never realised that Bosch was an established bounty hunter and Leia just sort of stole their outfit.
They did that in the comics, didn't they?
Well, they did it in the one of the Forces of Destiny quite recently. And Maz Kanata's in it, weirdly, that she helps Leia get the costume.
Maz Kanata in it, weirdly, is a statement that we've said a few times in Star Wars.
Yeah, there was no jetpack this time. But
Maz kind of turns fresh on.
Oh, I'd give her a go. She's been around the traps. Boba just working some women there.
yeah,
Some English dude with a tash under that.
it's not Jeremy Bullock.
No?
Is it just like the sound guy or something?
I was explaining to my wife the other day when we were watching A New Hope on the telly.
Yep.
And Grand Moff Tarkin walked in. It's like, he's wearing slippers. Had to tell her that story. It's like, well, it's like his shoes are uncomfortable. That's why I don't see his feet.
Oh, poor Max Rebo, he just covers his eyes there. He's terrified
That's gonna do
about
nothing.
the thermal detonator's about to go off. But it goes to show how much all of this resonated with is the fact that Coca-Cola were like, our presence in the theme park is going to be a thermal detonator.
Shaped Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And they must have been
Is that
thinking...
the flipped Boba Fett shot? Isn't there one where they've flipped the...
Or was that flipped for a trailer?
Oh, it might have been before. I thought there was a shot in the movie where his visor's on the wrong side, but... Who's that lady in the red in the background there? I've never noticed her. There's nothing, like 6 girls in Star Wars.
She was there before. She was looking in the hole.
Yeah, I've never... So
Max is all right now, though.
Tune, this is the proper music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same 4 bars over and over and over again, but,
Yeah, like I didn't notice that Asian dude that was just standing there wearing a headband.
Here we go.
Old Billy D's just shined in.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah. He was Rob Billy D. Williams not being able to get to be Two-Face. I gotta say, a Mos Eisley movie would have been pretty cool. Like,
it could still happen. This is very Star Wars.
Mandalorian.
I know this is silly, but it's...
Those 2 sons gets me every time.
And this is the thing that always I find weird, that the party kind of ends and...
They all just sleep in that room.
Everyone just goes to sleep. Yeah, they all just sleep in the room, yeah.
Like, I like that Leia just assumed... Of course they're all sleeping in the room. It's clearly a setup. Like, Jabba's like, just pretend you're all asleep... And we're going to let it get to the point that she actually frees him.
But you can see how many, they're everywhere. Like, you never noticed before, but there's about 40 people asleep.
Why didn't she think to herself, why haven't they gone home? Why haven't they called an Uber and just been picked up?
It's a big palace. There isn't enough room for everybody. And surely Billy D is reporting back, though. He's just like going, by about 12 o'clock, everybody's asleep. They all sleep out there.
Well, they hadn't heard from Billy D. That's what they said earlier. Or Chewie.
So they just had to go in. Or maybe they just don't tell 3PO anything.
Jabba that much of a control freak of nobody goes home till I say you're ready to go.
The party doesn't end until I say so.
I remember freaking out with the noise she was making here.
Or with the defrosting.
But just even dropping him and thudding, it's like, they're asleep.
But they're not right now. They're just going, shut up.
It's like when you're trying to get stuff around your kids. Are they asleep yet?
Because Carbonite was Darth Vader's idea. Right, because doesn't Boba go, he's no good to me dead?
Yeah, and
Boba's was unsure of it. Because we're seeing in The Mandalorian, it seems like we're just churning them out.
That, but I don't know whether it's a common thing to do or whether it's just the facility. Because I
thought they were just testing it on Solo because he wanted to use it for Skywalker.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it might be a common practice because he goes, this facility is crude, but it should be enough. So I think maybe it's more the facility than the process. Because everyone kind of knows what it does after that. But he's just like, this facility is crude, but it should be good enough. Like it's more like an industrial thing rather than a personal thing. So I think the practice actually happens quite a lot.
That Dad of the Year, he was just going to freeze his son. When I get a hold of it,
I don't have an awkward conversation on the flight back. I'll just freeze you. So where do you guys sit on Han Solo in this film? Do you I hear some criticism that he's gone soft. Do you agree with that, or is it sort of like a natural progression of the character?
For me, it's been my Han the whole time, so I never noticed a change of character.
No, I never noticed either.
But he found love, and
she does look great in this film, Carrie.
He's happier.
So do you reckon they've done it by now?
No.
You don't reckon?
No, I reckon they first bang on Endor.
They're in that Falcon for a long time, though.
Yeah, we know Lando would have had that.
I remember reading a message board post years ago saying that Leia wears white all through Star Wars until she gets to Cloud City, and then she's in that red dress, and they reckon that's where it happens. Oh. But then, the next scene, she's back in her white gear anyway. So
I love how creepy we are. Like, we have to try and... We've got to figure out... We've got to pinpoint when
Leia lost her virginity.
When they banged. Old Salacious Crumb.
I know what he is.
I'll tell you one collectible I would have loved to have gotten was at Celebration... Was it Germany or London? Where they had the Salacious Crumb clock. And the pendulum swung and his eyes moved and stuff, and it's like, that's a pretty awesome collectible.
I'm sure Claire from Imperial Senate's got one of those.
It's got a wonky eye.
So a lazy eye.
Obviously, Jabba...
This gets the tongue out right away.
Yeah, obviously he's got a small wang. Because if you look at her physically, he's wanting to hook up with her. So for it to be physically possible, he has to have an accommodating penis.
Or is it just a power thing?
Does he have a penis?
Well, Hutts breed.
Okay.
I don't know if they're mammals or not.
And this is bad management. They literally put him in with the one bloke he knows. Like everyone knows Han and Chewie, but for some reason, we'll just let him hang out, have a little conversation.
Let's just face it, Jabba's completely irresponsible. There's parties going on, people are just falling asleep at his palace. Really, he's out of control. I get the feeling like his parents would be disappointed in him.
Like he's actually sort of Pete.
Yeah,
he's just sort of made his money, and now he's just about partying, and he's ripe for a takeover, really, isn't he?
Yeah, because
a lot of those Mos Eisley books are all just like someone's in the shadows ready to take over because Jabba's slacking off.
Because George Lucas's thing always was to explain why Jabba looks so crappy in the special editions was, he just got fat and lazy and he was just eating a lot, and that's why he looks how he looks in Return of a Jedi.
So he was buff back in the day, was he?
Here comes Luke. I never really
amazing how dark he is at the start of this, isn't it? Really,
I never really thought about that his hoodie's brown until I was with the Hot Toys, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's brown." Because I always picture him in black.
That. Did you see that?
What, a dog?
A Sebulba went down. Was a CG Sebulba went down the stairs.
Of course, it did.
Why? Yeah, I know. I always found that weird in the toys that his stuff was brown because I was always just like, no, he's all in black. He's looking cool. Like, why would he have a brown cloak? Like, I didn't want to commit to him going full black.
Because it was all meant to be, has he turned, will he turn? I never questioned it.
No, I never for a second
I just thought that was what a Jedi did because he was the only point of reference I had. Now, did you guys lust over Princess Leia? I guess we were probably too young.
Can I tell you something? Sorry, Mitch. We'll get your creepy thoughts in a second. But for me, Carrie Fisher was always just an older lady.
Yeah, I agree.
She's never clicked in my
same here.
spank bank.
I never really sexualized Princess
No, I was probably still too young. I was all about the spaceships and aliens at this point. Later on, sure.
Like, it makes me more uncomfortable now than it did at the time. Like, it never really occurred to me at the time. But even now, I'm like, oh, yeah, you know. But, I mean, now you see sort of photos behind the scenes and she's sort of frolic on the beach and stuff. And you're like, wow, she was
you can see she's gorgeous. But it's like, I don't...
Dan Aykroyd and Paul Simon were fighting over her.
I don't find Marilyn Monroe... It's like, I've never thought to myself, she's going to slip into my spank bank. It's just, I guess, a generational thing. Yeah, but Mitch, you go back and revisit the 70s. I don't... When did you click... Or did you click automatically always when you watched Blues Brothers that's Princess Leia?
No.
Which I didn't.
I'm trying to think of the first time I watched it. I kind of knew. I remember back there was an Australian movie called Time Guardian, which was one of your cheap, tax dodge movies. And she was the big star in it. They flew her out here to make it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's not a good film.
And there's the blaster that Luke doesn't come in with to Hawes and Will, if you're listening. I think they had a conversation about 15 minutes wondering where Luke's blaster was.
Poor Gamorrean guard. He was just doing his job.
I know. Talk about bad luck. And he knows what he's in for.
The other thing that rattled me with the Hot Toys that I didn't really think about is I always think of Luke Skywalker in Return of a Jedi as the fold-down little bit on his all-black outfit.
Yeah.
And he's not in that outfit at all in this scene.
Funny thing about Luke toys, the Jedi, I'm always sort of drawn to him because this is my Luke when I got really into it, is the hair. It's always really hard to nail Luke's hair in Return of the Jedi because it's sort of that weird brush over the brow. And is it brown? Is it blonde? Like, what is it? Like, I've seen so many variations on it.
Yeah, they couldn't make up their mind. The Rancor's a great toy. It's just a big poo.
Oh, did you have that?
Yeah,
I never had the big
I never
toys.
had it. I have it.
Yeah. No, I never had the big toys.
Yeah.
No, I think this has had a little bit of digital touch-up. The sort of the comping and stuff on this to sort of...
Yeah, because it looked bad. Like if you watch the despecialized...
Yeah. But it's one of those could have, quite good changes where it's just subtly... It's all the same effects, but they've just sort of, matched the colours and the lighting a little bit better and the contrast and stuff, so it all looks pretty good.
That's a big bone that Luke's holding there. Like, I wonder what the Rancor was eating.
Yeah, what is that? It can't be someone's leg. It could be a Wookiee leg.
Femur.
Yeah, Wookiee femur.
Oh, that's pretty horrible. How poor Wookiee got chopped down there. The Jawa's having a good time in there. Wonder if that's one of those fancy off-world Jawas.
Yeah, what is an off-world Jawa? I mean,
That would hurt if, like, Mitch, let me get a stick and ram it in your mouth.
Let's try this for science.
See if we can make it work.
I'm actually surprised I've never seen the Rancors turned up in any of the cartoons and stuff.
No, I remember it in playing Knights of the Old Republic, and they were running around pretty freely in that. But I can't think Rancors haven't really.
I think we've seen video games.
We've seen a giant Kowakian monkey lizard, but we haven't really seen Rancors running around in the cartoons.
I like to see like a herd of Rancors in the Mandalorian or something. Or...
In the Aftermath books, it's a tragic tale, the Rancor Keeper.
Oh, really? I feel for him when he cries at the end of it.
Because he's lost. Spoilers, he's lost without something to keep.
Hey, at least he wasn't dumb enough to get on that sail barge after this. That he sort of stayed home. He probably normally would have gone, but he was mourning the loss of his pet. So I'm not quite sure where that button is supposed to be.
What happens if Luke had have thrown that, it hit it, and it just stopped the gate from dropping at all? Like, Luke took a real chance there.
Surely he would have known that there was
Space
a Rancor pit there. Like, even if Lando hadn't got the information about it, like Luke grew up on Tatooine, he must have knew a thing or two about Jabba the Hutt growing up.
You'd think so.
You'd be like, yeah, stay away from him. He's got a Rancor. He's,
all night parties.
Tough going being a chubby kid around these times because kids calling you the Rancor Keeper. Like, it was never fun. There's Yak Face.
Oh,
it is some pretty good acting.
But even
they support each other. That's good.
Just for genius of, so this giant beast is going to get killed. He's got somebody that takes care of him, and his carer's going to see the dead body and then start crying, and we're going to carry him out. Like, who comes up with this?
I guess George's like, it'd be funny that his friend is sad when he dies at the end. And it's like, George, are you directing this movie or am I directing this movie? This is my favourite bit of 3PO acting, where he just the way he points at Jabba the Hutt, like as if you could miss him. That is my favourite bit of C-3PO acting, I think, in anything. I know Tony Daniels gets a lot of shit, but his performance you can't really fault.
Was Bib Fortuna on the nod there? Like, he was just having a bit of a snooze. It looked like he was just hanging out.
It's a long day in that makeup under those lights.
Got a Euros going on in the background. Looks nice.
Oh, you're right. Look at him. He's just sort of weirdly standing in the background. And Boba Fett's there too.
What's the horse penis behind 3PO?
Jabba would be comfortable to lie on, though, I think. He's definitely got busy hands.
Get some banthas. I always thought quicksand was going to be a bigger deal. Yeah.
So where are we on the sail barge, Fresh? Is it ever going to happen?
No, I'm never going to own it.
You've made peace with it?
Yeah, because I've got a giant Snake Mountain incoming. There was you couldn't have room for both. And for me, when I think childhood collecting, Masters of the Universe outweighed Star Wars for me. Like, Star Wars toys for me really picked up with the 90s Power of the Force line. And that's when it's like, I love these movies and now their toys are back on the shelves, so I'm going to collect them no matter how ridiculous. I don't even think I thought they looked ridiculous. Like, Princess Leia looked hideous, but...
Schwarzenegger Luke?
Yeah, the muscles didn't bother me too much. You're going to die here, you know. When you think about it, Luke did have delusions of grandeur because he sort of wasn't declared a Jedi until he goes back to Yoda on Dagobah. Like, what did Luke really do in between?
Well, yeah, that's come up a few times on the podcast where he gets his absolute butt kicked by Vader, and the next time you see him, he's ready to roll. So he's obviously gone through done something. Or, I know that they're going to eventually fill all these gaps in the canon with something. I'm sure that's something that they'll...
R2, such a smart ass. I'm serving drinks.
It is some pretty good effects for 82. Like, I know there's been a little bit of touch-up on there, but...
Yeah, they've made the Sarlacc a lot more dramatic.
Feed me, Seymour.
It's got a real dry tongue like a cocky.
Me and my brother... Actually, you guys will get this joke. But me and my brother used to make the joke that one of the guys on the little barge there who gets knocked off, he's got the long sort of Platt down the back of his neck. One of Weequay or one of those guys in there. Every time that he would fall off into the pit, we go, there goes chocolate starfish. I knew you guys would get that.
So vain.
He had that
Tuft.
Yeah, at the back of the thing. I mean, he's got the stance of a guy who's got something, got something up his sleeve, hasn't he, really?
Yeah, these idiots are so wasted and so high. Like, what's he going to do?
Let's just drop some pills before we fly out. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably get out there quite a lot anyway, get in the sun, get some fresh air.
It was such good use of the bomb in the original Force Awakens trailer, tricking us into... because when you think about the Force Awakens... There's no way you could have guessed the movie was going to be what it was going to be after Return of a Jedi. Like, we're all thinking, does Boba Fett escape the pit? Does this happen? Does that happen? And
none of it's going to be running around doing all this.
Yep. There's a catch of a lightsaber. Love the green lightsaber. I'm going to go out and say the blue Legacy Anakin lightsaber, overrated.
Ooh.
I'm a far bigger fan of the green lightsaber.
That's where Jedi go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love the green saber.
Like, if I was a kid...
It's a shame we don't see more of it in the sequels, but I can see it doesn't really... Like, I can see why they put the emphasis on the other one.
Here comes Boba Fett for his big moment. What?
That was it.
He gets his gun chopped in half and then that's it.
I like it. I like how the rope just wrapped around Luke there. It's a shame Boba's so incompetent. But do you think Boba's high?
Do you think in the Mandalorian movie they're going to say, "Oh, that Boba, he's a running joke for the other Mandalorians"?
Well, he's not a Mandalorian, Mitch.
They'll explain that.
It's been established that Django just sort of picked up the armor and...
He's a cultural appropriator, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like girls who wear Indian headdresses at music festivals.
Yeah, that's exactly...
Fake fella.
That's exactly what he is. There he goes. Yeah, like, I think Star Wars has established falling down into something and not being seen again does not mean death.
Okay.
And that's why I'm on board with Sheev just popping back up in...
Yeah, I think Boba Fett... I think they'll say Boba Fett's back. He's worth more to them alive than dead. I think Sheev is dead. I think they'll find a way around that, but... So I assume that Chewie filled Han in about like how Lando is actually, not such a bad bloke, and
he'd want to
screw him over because Han seems pretty. Like, if it had been me, I would have been like, well, great, let him fall in the pit. He totally screws
the Michael
over.
Hutchins moment. Yep.
Oh, dude! Wow. That's a very Australian in excess reference. If you want to Google
Jabba was into that, he would have lasted a lot longer then, and then he probably would have blown.
Or David Carradine for our American friends,
or he would have blown up Leia's nose as he died.
Wow.
Well, it's got no socks. It's got no feet.
But it does make me laugh when you watch this that so many defenders of the original trilogy overthink so much, but there's so much stuff that's underthought in these movies.
There's so much wacky stuff in this.
Like, they act like it's this grand master plan that's so executed perfectly. It's executed perfectly from a fun standpoint, but if we're going to think about it, it's ridiculous. It's outrageous. Oh, Luke
His lightsaber gets very long.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, you know what happened. Excited.
Grower, not a shower. And it is quite funny because I remember when the prequels came out and the jokes, or Force Awakens, they were saying how they've gone for so many gags. This is actually quite funny.
Yeah, and that's what I remember watching The Force Awakens was, I forgot Star Wars is funny.
And there's some really good jokes in Force Awakens.
Were you a little put off at the start of The Last Jedi? I remember thinking these jokes are too full on for me.
No.
No. I grew comfortable with them at first. I was like, whoa, they're really hitting me with the humour.
I guess it was early, but probably earlier than the film than I would have thought. But I guess because you go second chapter, you expect it to be more weighty from the jump. I mean, I know it's a more weighty film anyway.
So at this point, we don't know that Leia's a sister, so people might still be hoping on Team Luke
So they're going to...
that they're going to hook up. There's still hope.
So there was a thing on the Star Wars show the other day where they blew up the Kenner sail barge, or the new one, to try and replicate. And they got pretty close, actually, because they just sort of... I don't know, they had some expert guys who placed the explosives in the right spots and things and cut holes in it, but they reckon that it was too durable. Like if you just stuck some explosives, it wouldn't have worked because it's actually got quite durable plastic. So
for a bit of humour, Josh, what I'm thinking of doing is for my display is having the mini rig skiff.
Oh yeah,
because every time I'm at the Melbourne Toy Fair, there's always quite a few of them, and it's like, no, I don't have the barge. I've got the mini rig of the skiff.
What do you think about the mini rigs? They never felt Star Warsy enough for me. Design-wise, they just didn't look right.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was like a brown thing that had a fold-up bit on it.
Yeah. I even think
that was the
I had
only
that
Star
one.
Wars vehicle I think I had. I didn't have a land speeder. I didn't have... My cousin had a bunch of stuff. He had the Tidarian shuttle. Like, I think he's still got it all too.
There's a look at his hand with the blast mark in it, and he puts the glove over.
It's nice seeing Luke in an X-Wing. I would have liked to have seen Luke fly an X-Wing. I did miss that, but...
Well, he'd ripped it apart and reappropriated a wing for a door, so that wasn't going to be
threw
happening.
it into the ocean.
I was excited in the trailer for the Rise of Skywalker seeing the Y-Wings back. Because they were always my favourite for some reason.
Now, they've certainly pulled out the stops for the Emperor to come in. You can see, like, it almost looks like the scaffolding in the top left there, like they're still actually, like, painting the walls and stuff, like, quite frantically.
Pelp's big...
Yeah. Now, when I saw Return of Jedi for the first time at the One Thaggy Cinema, the Emperor scared the crap out of me. And there's these dudes behind him that were one of those rare...
Oh, the blue
the
one?
coin figures. Like, they were one of the ones that my brother got in the show bag.
That nobody wants.
I know, but they're actually like quite hard to come by. But yeah, the Emperor, I had to look away every time the Emperor came on the screen.
Look how shiny Darth is. That's your perfect Darth. That's a nice outfit.
Well, Ian McDiarmid, I think, is younger than us when he filmed this. I think he was 38 they said when he did this.
And when you think about it, perfectly cast in that, I think Ian McDiarmid's very underrated in the prequels.
For sure.
Him and Ewan McGregor are probably the two best parts of the prequels. And it just worked out perfectly that he was that age and was able to come back. And even now you can roll him out in The Rise of Skywalker and however he's going to be.
He's quite up for it too.
And he's quite spry. So
yeah.
Did you were in the stadium when he came out and said, roll it again.
We were on the side. So we were looking side on from the stage. So the view wasn't as good as it would be if you're in front, obviously, but we could actually see, when the trailer came in, we could see him come up onto the stage, like when the lights went down. Like, I was like, oh, someone's coming up. Like, what's going on?
But you obviously didn't know it was him.
Yeah, didn't know it was him, but I saw him walk up onto the thing, so yeah. It's amazing how much more frail Yoda gets in... What's the timeline in Empire and Jedi? Is it a year? Is it ever really established?
I'm not sure it's established.
But Luke got very serious in that time.
Yoda got very old. I mean, he's already old, but what's the difference between 900 and 901?
So stop it now.
I really hope they don't explore Yoda. Like, I'm happy...
Like young Yoda with a full head of hair.
Yeah, or what his race is. Like, Yaddle was enough. Like... we don't need to know.
His awkward teenage years.
You can't beat
Afro time.
You can't beat the puppet though. Like it looks amazing. Like just the way it wiggles and moves and everything. It's so well done.
I'm so glad that they went back to puppet for Last Jedi.
I'm watching that Plastic Crack doco.
Yeah,
and they had a big Star Wars collector. You know his name. I don't know who it was.
Steve Sansweet, was it?
No. There's another guy. He had a Death Star, the actual.
Gus.
Guy. Yeah,
Toys of Gus, I think he is on Instagram.
Yeah, and he had it was a prototype test puppet
Gus
for Yoda.
Lopez. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like literally what they were practicing on before they finished making it.
He was like jumping into bins and stuff, that bloke, wasn't he? Like,
yeah. It amazed me when I saw Stuart Freeborn that he based the puppet sort of
on himself.
On himself.
Have you been watching the new Dark Crystal on Netflix?
I watched a few episodes and...
The puppet in that, like this puppet looks just as convincing, and that's 30 years later of all the puppet stuff they've done. You know, like I don't know they've used little CG in that.
I shouldn't laugh, but I was just grooming myself before I came across, and I can't help but notice Yoda's hairs look like they're based on a ball sack.
It's just a bit cold. He doesn't have any windows in his house.
Good to know you prepare for a podcast.
Always, just for Josh. Yoda's head could be a scrotum.
Did Freeborn base that off his screen?
And I hate even saying that about Yoda because I love Yoda so much.
I feel like you're just respecting his memory, like he's just about to die.
I don't know what it says more about Yoda's head or my ball sack. But
Is it green?
no.
Oh, that's all right.
Thankfully. Pretty blue, though. Look at him all tucked in there. Just wants to go to sleep.
He's been living pretty rough, hasn't he?
So that's a confirmation. So, yeah, people...
I never really considered that it wouldn't have been true. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I went and saw it and was just like, well, that's just the way it is. It never really occurred to me that it would be something he would be lying about.
So Josh, you're pretty strong on believing that Kylo Ren was telling the truth to Rey.
Yes.
But you can understand why people would believe he's lying because people thought Darth Vader was lying.
But they always tell the truth, the Sith. Like, Dooku told Obi-Wan the truth. No one believed him.
Yeah, the only liars are the Jedi.
Yeah. Like, he's got no skin in the game to lie, really, Kylo.
Well, it's interesting, Ben Sheaves telling...
He basically acknowledges it because he kind of says to her, you know it's true. Like, I've read your thoughts. They were this. Like, you've just basically been hiding it because you don't want to own up that you've got no purpose.
So when Palpatine, by that logic, says to Anakin, in your anger, you killed Padme, that answers the question of how did Padme die. She died from the chokeout.
Yeah, and he also knows at that moment that he can't bring her back, that he was basically played. Didn't all the Yodas disintegrated, didn't they? Like the puppets and stuff.
It's like the snake puppet with the fright zone of Masters of the Universe. Like, you can't get that in the fright zone because the puppet the latex just
doesn't
hold up.
If they still, I mean, surely now they use something that they can stick in a museum or whatever.
The puppet in The Last Jedi was really good.
It's weird. I still separate prequel Yoda to original trilogy Yoda. Like, they almost feel like they're different people.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's amazing how bad that Phantom Menace puppet looked, though.
That's one good change that they've done. CG Yoda is way better than the original puppet Yoda.
Yeah, because
the original
he's
puppet
about half his age.
There are toys made by Hasbro now that look better than that puppet Yoda.
Mm. Are we seeing Yoda in Episode 9? Is it a given?
I hope so. Like, I'm big on bring back all those Force ghosts. I don't care if Rey's looking at people she doesn't know. And you can go, it doesn't make sense, but so much of this doesn't make sense as we're establishing.
That whole trailer was just all nostalgia. So let's bring everything back.
Because I hear so many people go, I don't want Star Wars to be connected. Everything's too connected and stuff. I don't hear them complaining that Luke and Leia became brother and sister, because surely there must have been people in the cinema going, oh, come on, they kissed. They've kissed, damn it. She made out with him. Like, why do they have to be brother and sister? Like, was there this discourse after Return of a Jedi of, oh, they were brother and sister, there were teddy bears running around. I don't like these
Teddy bears were the greatest thing ever when you're 11.
Yeah, but I mean, like, kids that were 11 when A New Hope came out, who were, 18 or 19, whatever, West Heidelberg education, by the time Return of a Jedi comes out, or 17, were they outraged by the changes?
No idea.
Do you think it was, more just to tie everything in a bow, to, I don't have time to work out this Luke, Han, Leia love triangle.
Yeah, it's just
if I just make them brother and sister, then I basically don't have to worry about having to choose.
Here's Alec Guinness.
It's crazy that he came back. The amount of, people keep saying he had all this disdain for it, but he did come back for 2 more movies.
But he was just such a great job.
He was bitching about work. We all complain about work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, but
he's sitting there and he's trying to explain this movie.
Like,
It was a paycheck by this time.
But in fairness to Alec Guinness, like, I don't know if that letter was done when he was doing A New Hope and stuff he was complaining about. They were all complaining, young and old. What's this dialogue that we're doing? You know, what's this movie? Like, they talk about all the British workers that were just working on the movie going, this is crap. Like, what is this joke?
yeah.
So he wasn't alone.
Shows how good an actor he is, though, because he absolutely nailed it in The New Hope.
Is it true that he gets 1% of everything Star Wars, or is that an urban legend that was part of his deal?
He got a good deal. I don't know exactly.
I always heard it was 1% of like all Star Wars.
Your father killed children, and then I hacked him up on a lava planet and left him to burn to die.
I should have just kicked him in. Actually, I didn't even have to kick him in. I could have just used the Force to push him in, just to make sure.
He's more machine now than man, because I did it.
Hello there.
But that's one thing with The Last Jedi that made sense to me, was once all this washes out and Luke has time to think about everything, he's got every right to feel jaded.
For sure.
Obi-Wan manipulated this kid into doing his dirty work and played a narrative that wasn't necessarily true. And Luke would go on to do the same thing to Rey by playing a narrative about Ben that maybe wasn't true. Once the truth came out, he was like, all right, this is how it went down.
It's crazy. We all just stop when Alec Guinness is on the screen. You know, happy to chat over everything. It's still.
I'm also curious just to read the exact verbiage of how he's describing what the Emperor felt about Offspring and stuff like that. Because you forget, because you've seen the movies so many times, the quotable lines pop out at you, but the in-between dialogue, it's like, I can't remember what they were saying. Some people can, and I create like people like Hawes and stuff that can remember everything. It's like, genius. I'm not so good with that. That's why, Josh, when you did that episode, I think with that Trevor guy, and you did the trivia.
Oh, yeah.
And I was petrified for you.
I couldn't believe that I pulled it off.
Because I'd be fake fan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
when I had the Force Toast girls on, they're trivia nuts, and they just talk about the study that they do. And then Alex as well from Star Wars explained, the amount of work that goes in just to be top of the pile.
Some great cape work.
And Leia in the background there, I've never noticed. Look at that, just sort of chit-chatting away. That's really weird, like looking right in the background on this Blu-ray.
A lot of brush forward.
So how much time has passed here? So they leave Jabba's palace, they get back with the fleet. So in between that time, Han's got time to get reacquainted with the rebellion, get promoted into general, and get told to do the plan to do the bunker thing, and no one else finds out. Like, has it been a few days? Does he just sort of walk in and be like, right, I'm on board. Like, all my misgivings.
About 6 space weeks.
It's been 6 space weeks, yeah. So the lady who plays Mon Mothma, when we did the Rogue One, when we found out she is still alive. So she could,
oh, wow.
She could be in Episode 9. Like, I know that they've got the lady who does Mon Mothma age appropriate now.
Because I'm trying to think what happened in the Bloodlines book with Mon Mothma.
I
don't think she was killed out. Yeah, like, she definitely stood down. I mean, I'm currently in the middle of Resistance Reborn. Oh,
right. Yeah, I'd like to. I'm having Holly from Rebel Dispatch come on the pod next week to spoil it, to tell me what happens, because I haven't got time to read it.
Only an 11-hour listen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what's it both?
There's another black guy.
Well, there were a couple in Jabba's palace.
Yeah. Good on them.
I've never... I think what I realised watching this is how often I watch this movie and it's sort of in the background and I don't pay attention. Because I'm like, there's a few prune-faced dudes hanging out.
Yeah, there's like more Moncals and things as well.
Yeah. And I think all those prune-faced dudes wear patches. What, they all missing eyes?
Maybe it's some sort of initiation. When you turn 14, you get your eye poked out.
I didn't realise it's Nyan Num. I always used to call him Nyan Num.
I call him Nyan.
I think Lando's fashion choice is a bit of a step down in this movie. He's wearing this sort of drab tan kind of... It's not particularly... the other stuff that he sort of wears... That is a shocking beard. And the Blu-ray is doing it no favours. He's got the Luke Skywalker comb over as well, though.
But look at his head. Like, Criss Maydean could almost be a Kid with how pointy his head is. As if Chewie wasn't going to go along with it. Han playing that I didn't want to speak for you, buddy. So Luke's had a change of clothes here, I think, and now he's in the black
It's got the
outfit.
flip over.
Yep.
Oh, is it slightly different, is it?
Oh. I didn't realise I've got that exact display in my back room of the Imperial Shuttle next to the Millennium
And
Falcon.
then Naywing.
Oh, there's an X-Wing there too. I've never noticed that. There's a little bit of slightly shonky blue screen going on. I think the shot where they're standing in front of the Falcon from the other angle. But yeah, like Lando's outfit's not particularly... It's a bit drab.
He can't be
bit
too
more military.
flashy in
It's
front,
military.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit
in
more
front of the
military.
boys.
Yeah, that's a little,
that's
bit,
a
it's a
nice
little bit
painting.
ropey.
Yeah, you felt they had a lot more of a plan to establish a friendship between Han and Lando, because in Solo, they didn't really get a friendship up and running.
No, they kind of hang out and antagonize and... Yeah, I mean, that's the
Mutual
disappointment.
respect is the
I
closest
know
you get.
there's the hashtag, but I would like to see more Solo stuff. Just, I'd like to see that...
Universe
I
explored
wouldn't want
a
that
bit
to be the
more.
last time that there was just some dude you want to ship off. Like, you'd really want to see some proper adventures and stuff.
Yeah, that hashtag sure can make you not want to see something that you want to see. Social media, it's something
Social
else.
media, kids.
It's Han looking at the Falcon.
Just looking at his friends for the last time.
Yeah, I really hope the Falcon survives.
I think so. I feel like it's a thing that will carry on.
We've lost too much already.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
take
too
it.
easy just to keep it. You don't have to worry. I mean, I think...
The Lego would like them to keep it.
Yeah,
Did people buy more than one Lego Falcon, though?
They've had how many iterations?
yeah, we just heard it on a toy podcast. I think it was 8 they've released.
Wow.
Like, that's a thing that keeps... It's a gift that keeps on giving. Was that the Tantive 4 that we see? Tantive 4?
I mean, that's supposed to show up in episode 9. There was I think in some EU thing they say it got dismantled, but I don't think it's actually canon anymore.
It's for the best.
So is the Emperor up that little spike thing on that previous shot? Is that establishing that's where he's sitting?
I don't know.
I never really thought about that. You said they had that. I mean, we can't rewind, but the establishing shot, and there was this, like the TIE fighters flying over the surface of the desert, and there's this one sort of protruding thing at the top that had spikes on it. Is that where the Emperor is? Is he sitting in that thing? Like, is that his observation deck?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I wonder if they'll do another shot from that.
And like those two creeps in the purple, that's very similar to one of the dudes that's with Vader in his castle. I've always
Yeah, that's
assumed
the figure.
that-
That's the one I'm talking about. That was
Yeah.
the figure with the coin. Those guys.
So Mitch, you're old enough to like Josh and I remember the show bags and
So there's
or
the
more
other-
so the
there's the other
legend. Did
planet
you
again.
get the show bags?
No.
That had what was it? 5 figures.
Yeah,
I was well past it by that point.
5 figures, I think. Yeah, so that's where we got that. We got the pop up R2, the pop up Saber R2, who's in the study over there, and was definitely that dude. And I think Leia, Endor Leia.
Did you get an Ewok in there?
I'm pretty sure there was an Ewok because
Yeah.
it's the figures. Most of the figures are still at my parents' house, all floating around.
Because I remember figures started around $3.99.
Yep.
By the height, they were up to like $7.99.
Wow.
And then they were out for $1.99 by the end of it.
Yeah.
And that was the ones with the coins, like you were
I remember
saying.
our Woolies was like, I remember them having like a letterbox drop of just Star Wars 99 cents. Just it was like all the Criss Maydines and the Bib Fortunas and the.
I remember for those in Melbourne where Northland is, and they've got the Homemaker Centre now. Across the road from there used to be a drive-in, and they'd have a trash and treasure there. And where you'd go in, there was always a table to the entrance to the right, and the dude always had a ton of Star Wars stuff sitting there. And this would have been 86, 87, so Star Wars was long gone. And I always used to pass on it because He-Man fever, baby. Like,
Yeah, right.
I don't want those little toys.
He-Man forever, man.
Get me that He-Man stuff.
Does this guy have rubber bands in his legs?
But I wonder if that guy goes to himself, I can't believe I was selling this stuff off at Trash and Treasure, like
Yeah.
probably for a song. Like,
clear the stock.
Oh, Luke.
He is endangering the mission though. Like, why did he come?
because he knows him and Vader can
Sense each other.
sense each other.
I guess he doesn't know whether Vader would be there. But you imagine if it's the big, if the Emperor's going to be there, there's probably a pretty good, bet that Vader might be hanging around.
But you're looking at Luke in this movie, The Last Jedi is not a stretch, the character of him.
No, not at all.
Because he's quite grumpy in this. He's a very serious Luke.
Dude. Like, I guess they're going like, oh, by the end, he cracks a smile, but...
People forget that the Luke that they took from this and recreated in the playground with their own spin on it is different than the one that was actually in the movie.
But still, look, that Death Star blows up. It's going straight down. Like, seriously, look how close it is to the planet. It's hovering right above. Anyway, I'm going to hold my powder until we see episode 9.
I only got a month and a bit to go.
I know.
Yeah, this probably won't hold up too well if you're listening to this in February 2020.
We're all still speculating on what's going to happen.
Oh, how cool was that camo gear?
No, I'm not a fan.
Figures. Really?
Yeah, not a fan of the little Rebel helmets.
I like his duster. Very John Farnham.
The poor droids, like, it must be so impractical to have to get around in a jungle. It's, like, at least BB-8 can sort of roll and go over everything. Like, R2... Because we believe his jetpacks aren't working at this point.
Because I was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast the other day, and they were speaking, and they had the puppeteer for BB-8 on there as a guest. Yep. I didn't realise it was all CG, and I thought it was totally remote control and magical.
Oh, they worked you.
They did work me. I was happy in my bubble of not knowing.
Yeah, they pulled the curtain back too much. Yeah, no, I was never big on the little Rebel outfits. I think the bike...
I like the camo tunics. Probably my...
Did you see they're going to be in The Mandalorian, Mitch?
The Biker Scouts.
Yeah. Cheers. They showed them zipping around on a bike.
And this is the reason why...
Han's Boba Fett-like with his screwing that up just then, trying to take down the Biker Scout.
Is that part of the criticism, that he hasn't got the killer edge anymore? But he's always been sort of bumbling his way through, hasn't he, really? That's Han.
That's what Chewie's for.
Chewie's crossbow is a good weapon.
I do still love that Scout Trooper design.
Did you get the Black Series?
No.
Missed it?
Yeah, I never saw the archive one, the Wild. I nearly bought the blue stripe one when I was at Celebration, but I will get to it. There was like one on the speeder bike as well.
Yeah, I've got that.
Which I would like to get one day. I might go back and get it eventually. But
and this is why it's my favourite movie. This whole sequence. I love the speeder bikes.
A cool set that Hasbro did in the late 90s is for 12-inch Luke and Leia on the speeder bikes is really cool. I'd take this over the pod race any day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a prequel apologist, but...
I would like to see these, like in The Mandalorian, if they do, speed bikes with modern technology, what can we do? This still holds up pretty well, though.
Well, it's a Western. They're the closest thing you're going to get to horses. Oh, but they are running.
No, horses are coming.
Oh, that's
horses are coming. That's the way it's going to be, little darling.
Oh, when we get a little bit further along, when Luke ignites his lightsaber, I think is the best ignite lightsaber sound, I think, in all the whole trilogy. It's sort of it just makes the perfect lightsaber turning on sound. We're not quite there yet, but...
You probably hear us be quiet because this scene still taps into our childhood. We'll watch it. So cool. We're just watching him zip around.
God, just like on bikes. Used to play this on push bikes.
It's my son's favourite Star Wars toy.
It's my speeder bike. It's a pretty brutal way to go, speeder bike into a tree.
So you let your son play with your vintage speeder bike?
Yep. Because I pulled it out one day and he's like, oh, that's really cool. Look at brakes if you push this button in. And he kept doing it. And I'm like, should I be doing this? And it's like, he's having fun.
Yeah, what does it matter?
They've never nailed speeder bikes in the video games, though. Not even in Battlefront 2, like the latest one where you can do it. It's still awkward as hell to try and drive a speeder bike around.
They don't look easy.
Well, it's just because in order to go fast, you just bump into shit all the time.
Did you think stormtroopers were robots or people?
People. I never really considered that they were robots.
Mitch?
I didn't think they were humans. I wasn't sure. So I probably thought they were robots. I've got that gun, the toy gun on theirs.
Yeah, I had a toy Han blaster as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is back in the day when you could have a gun that looks like a gun.
Yep. Didn't have orange.
Everything's Nerf.
Yeah, or orange or...
Yeah, I had the Stormtrooper from the original Star Wars. I've still got that gun, and I've got the Biker Scout gun.
No, we weren't. My mum wasn't buying us guns. We didn't have any guns.
My sister, like my siblings are all like 10 plus years older than me, and my sister was always horrified that Dad was constantly buying me toy guns. She was not cool with it at all.
No, my mum was never cool with toy guns. Like, she didn't mind if Han Solo came with a gun, that's fine.
Because like a toy gun would have that red bit and it would spark if you...
This is the best lightsaber.
All right, let's listen.
Oh, that one. That is just...
I don't think I've ever noticed it.
Oh, it's my favourite one for some reason.
Oh, I'll take that.
Luke's very hack and slash with that lightsaber, isn't he?
Well, he's not trained. He's not like Dooku.
But even the cool things of like just remembering, oh, yep, he's going to retract the saber, then run off and stuff, like it's very hectic to make a movie. Like every step of the way, you've got to think about this stuff and make sure it's in the movie. No wonder poor JJ forgot the Chewie Leia hug.
Oh,
although it's a bad one.
Why didn't Chewie get a medal? Has that ever been someone tried to explain that out in a book or anything?
Probably.
I don't know, actually.
Well, Mitch is friends with the author that killed Chewie.
I am.
Oh, I got the planet dropped on him.
Yeah, Mitch is friends with the guy that wrote that. Well, was it like you can kill whoever you want, bar this, and this?
He
like,
said, can I kill someone? And they go, well, yeah, who? And he put a list out. No, you can't. No, yep, Chewie. All right, okay.
Crazy that they just offered Chewie up for sacrifice.
I don't mind a good fern. You a fern fan, Mitch?
Oh, I do like.
Would you say that's a fern?
That's
or a fern's native to Australia?
Oh, no, because what are the New Zealand teams?
Are they ferns?
Yeah, silver ferns.
I just thought it was a stupid feather.
Shout out to our New Zealand friends.
You can just hear the Australian-New Zealand rivalry there.
Yeah.
Love Ewoks.
Is that Willow?
Yeah, never had an issue with Ewoks.
It's wicked.
And then talk about Warwick Davis, I feel sort of is a similar, in a similar category to Anthony Daniels, that, you know, famous for characters, comes back, does a lot of promotional things like that. And Warwick Davis seems to be very, very happy to be in Star Wars, and Anthony Daniels seems quite content at the moment to just burn no need to be polite anymore.
For me, with Warwick Davis, for Celebration, because I haven't been, I've only watched for live streams, I just love watching him on a Segway roll in and out and host panels and stuff. He's really good at it too.
He was at a lot of stuff that we went to.
I always wonder what this food was that she gave him. Looks like a corn.
It's a snack.
I always thought that the thing that Luke eats in Empire when he's got his little, it's almost like a sausage, but I always thought it was like a summer roll. You know, summer roll.
Yes.
Like a summer roll.
Oh, now I want a summer roll.
Yeah, you have to duck into the servo.
I'm a honey log person myself. Wicked.
So that blinking's new, is it?
Yeah, I've kind of just gotten so used to it now. I know our buddy Steele Saunders, you know, grinds his gears with the blinking and stuff, but yeah, I think I've kind of moved on.
I've got to say, Wicket's fingernails quite well groomed for a woodland creature. See, why I don't understand why Ewoks bother people.
It's like Star Wars.
Yeah. Like Gungans don't bother me. Like Porgs didn't bother me. Like none of that stuff. It's like it almost feels like blokes have to go, it's too cute for me. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I like Hawaii. It doesn't bother me. Oh,
hey.
Wicket was quite good with his reflexes. I'm getting out. That was almost Matrix-like. Like they should slow it down in a new special edition and have him bend over backwards to dodge the shot.
I just realised that we missed Carrie's coke nail too.
Oh, does she have a coke nail?
Yeah, apparently when they're in the shuttle, you can sort of see it's the Belushi days.
Oh.
I think it's the...
So was she hooking up with Belushi, was she?
She was engaged to Aykroyd, but I think she was in the scene. I think in the Making the Empire Strikes Back book, they sort of talk about getting Carrie to set and stuff, and got to get her on time because she was out last night with the Rolling Stones and all that, kind of stuff. So she was certainly living the dream. She was only 22, 23 at the time.
Who aged worse, Kerry or Dan Aykroyd?
What's worth, Coke or vodka?
Oh, look at him. He would be heavy. She lifted him pretty well.
Yeah, well, I guess he's only 10, isn't he? Or he's probably
very young.
He's wearing a pretty good pound of kit on him.
I had an Ewok beanbag.
Really?
It was cool to look at, terrible to sit in.
I really want to go back to that establishing shot because there's a window at the left as well and the window at the right. I think that spire thing might be the thing because there's windows on either side because it's obviously not a solid because there's a window there, so it must be not that big because the Death Star's huge. You can't have windows on either side. Now I really want to go back and have a look. So somebody, if you, we'll inspect when we finish.
It's funny, the ultimate diorama is always Palpatine in the throne with 2 red guards on either side. I just got the Black Series and I've got to set that up.
But they're never actually there, are they?
No, I was just
you have to put the...
I hope it pops up later on because in my head... But see, it's in your head what you picture, but then when you're watching it, it's like, oh, it doesn't actually appear
You'll
that
actually
way.
have to put them near the door or something on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
It's funny watching A New Hope again, just how different Vader sounds too. He's a lot quicker and nowhere near as deep.
He only sounded the same for about 2 movies. For Empire and Jedi, he sounds close, but then, like James Earl Jones obviously is older now. Anytime he does it now, you're like, that's just an old man. That's not the same Vader. Like the Rogue One is almost jarring how different it sounds.
The whole...
I haven't seen the new Lion King. I don't know if his voice sounds different.
I have felt him strange that I have not. I remember watching special editions in the cinema and the cinema laughing.
People giggled at that.
And it was like one of those things I hadn't thought about. It's like, yeah, it is kind of funny.
It's amazing that they can find all this. Like, considering how fast those speeder bikes are going and how big this forest is.
Oh, thanks, Luke. Bearer of brand new. Like, Luke can probably sense that she's okay, but no, here's her helmet. She's dead. This cracks me up. Oh, Chewie wants to eat this thing.
Like he's not being fed.
Yeah.
Look
how eagerly he just runs in. He's like, oh, look, there's a baboon carcass. I'm just going to start munching on it.
But it's weird because they kind of established that he's a bit more sophisticated. Like, aren't Wookiees a little bit more sophisticated than just eating like a dead animal? It's just...
Like, how long had it been since he'd eaten? Like, why did he have to just start hacking at this thing? Big idiot. Yeah, that is a weird creature.
The little teeth.
And who were the Ewoks trying to capture with that thing? Who did they think was going to come along wanting to eat it?
Well, I guess there's been a bunch
of fighting stormtroopers.
Well, I was going to say, Imperials, but maybe they're all looking at it going, well, this is clearly a trap.
Because that's the least appetizing thing. Like, what would you rather eat, Mitch? The Jabba frog or that baboon-looking thing?
I never noticed the Ewoks just sort of standing there doing nothing for a while.
Creeping up.
Yeah, but they're actually, there's 2 or 3 on the side who are just in the shot the whole time who just don't move.
Mitch, frog or baboon? Raw baboon?
Can I have the corn thing that Leia was eating?
No.
Oh. Oh, that was so cute.
Han and Luke aren't threatened in the slightest.
You sort of wonder why they don't just lay waste to them, but I guess they assume that they'll, obviously Leia's probably with them, or you don't want to make a noise.
Good acting by Harrison Ford there. Point that thing somewhere else. Arguing in Ewokese.
It would be funny if Luke's just like, all right, just shoot a bunch of them. He just stands
Start
there.
letting it go. See, C-3PO not so shiny in this movie.
No. I think episode 3 is the only one where he's like super duper shiny. I remember when they were filming that and they had those little like web vignettes of stuff and they were saying that they had to basically like use computers to paint out the green screen reflection. They made him super shiny, but then it just reflected all the green screen everywhere because there was no set.
Phasma, you'd have similar issues, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess it depends on how much physical sets there are.
I love that he has to remind you. He's flew in over 6 million. So it's very contentious in a new book that there's an Ewok that's a slicer. And
Is that still canon? Is it a canon?
yeah, I think it is. And C-3PO is going to be using a very primitive dialect. I guess that's an off-world Ewok.
Is this a nature versus nurture kind of thing, where it's like, given the right chance of, if you've got an Ewok that isn't growing up in a hut, they can actually, use their brains for good.
It's like those monkeys that steal your wallets over in Asian countries.
There's no Ewok. They've never done an Ewok Jedi, though, have they? There must be some fan art somewhere.
I'm sure there is, but hopefully there's not fanfic of Ewoks.
Emily, if you're listening,
keep it to yourself. I always wanted the toy Ewok village. I always thought that looked really cool. It was reappropriated for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, the molds.
Yeah.
God, I remember seeing that at the...
Well, so was Gamorrean Guard, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Friar Tuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw they did a special screening of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves at the Leongatha Memorial Hall. Like, we didn't have a movie theatre, so it was a big deal. And all the town turned out, and the movie broke down after about half an hour for about 20 minutes while they figured out how to get it back on again.
3PO sitting in his throne.
Which one was Chief Chopper? Oh, that was the cutest Ewok, the baby.
Wackling.
Yeah.
Nip it.
Chief Chirper well, that's not Chief Chirper, is it? That's isn't the Medicine Man? Is it Logray the Medicine Man?
Yeah, I get it.
Chief Chirper. We need the resident Ewok experts.
I get them all confused.
I just remember the figures. It's the only reason I know.
Did you have any of the plush ones?
No.
I never had a Wicket. We definitely had the Medicine Man, the Logray.
I was excited. I found a spare Wicket the other day. Oh. Be honest,
you still have his little hat, like his little.
The spare one didn't.
Now we've got the.
Have you been accumulating over time? Like just you see a Wicket, you buy it?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
It was like, remember we were at that collector's fair and was it you or Jonesy just picked up a bag of Ewoks and just stuck it in my hand and I handed over money without even looking to see what was in the bag? And the funny thing is, I had them all. Like, it was an unnecessary purchase.
You never know, though.
No, I would have been losing money not buying it.
Yeah, we've got the Forces of Destiny Endor Leia doll somewhere. It might be in the other room. And she came with the speeder bike outfit and the interchangeable dress.
Yeah. Oh, it's an interchangeable dress.
You could take the whole thing off and you could get it down.
Josh sounds like he was quick to get into it.
No, because my daughter took all her clothes off and she was walking around with a naked Leia. Like, she's actually completely starkers.
I thought... Like, I've always thought from a vintage standpoint, one of the best things, like if I could afford and get one in perfect condition, A New Hope 12-inch Princess Leia looks amazing. But you can never find her with the bun still in because it's
real hair,
flocked hair.
Yep.
Like
real hair. But yeah, like those vintage 12-inch figures are really good-looking figures. Like, they did an amazing job.
From what era? Like, actual
from
77?
70s and 80s.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they're worth checking out. Like, that New Hope Princess Leia is a beautiful figure.
Don't scare the baby Ewok.
Do you reckon that's Carrie's real hair?
No. Luke using his levitating powers. See, nobody had a problem with Luke leveling up.
But it's all pretty constrained till. Like, Ray's only really doing stuff that Luke's doing in these anyway.
Poor R2.
Poor R2 is absolutely face planted.
Do you think?
He's looking like a belly whacker.
I do like that R2 goes for revenge and just zaps Ewok in the ass. At first, zaps him in the wang, and then zaps him in the bum.
Yeah, they're totally banged.
Bert Dink.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, yeah.
You reckon it's happened? We're back on that. It's like, all right, where do we establish the timeline? Well, they were back at the Rebel fleet for a few days as well, like you said, catching up on lost time.
Because I wonder has it been established when they conceived Ben?
I think they said not long after the Battle of Endor it happens.
Because we know Poe.
No, I think they get married.
Poe gets conceived here.
Oh,
like in the celebration. I think Poe's parents.
He's part Ewok.
Hook up.
I think Poe is mixed race though, isn't he?
I think so.
Black and his dad's white. I think. I always found that I always thought that he was telling this story out of order. So that's Star Wars, hum of lightsaber. But then he's talking about the Snow Walkers. So isn't he talking about the X-Wings blowing up talking about the Death Star then? Like, hasn't he gone back in the story then? Or is he talking about blowing up?
No. It seems in order, I think, because now he's at Cloud City.
So is the Luke blowing up the AT-AT, not blowing up the Death Star? Surely talking about the Death Star is more important.
Now he's at Carbon.
And they're going to Death Star.
The Sarlacc bit.
Have you ever read the novelization of Return of the Jedi?
No.
I've got it. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I've got it.
There's a really bizarre package in this part, if I remember correctly, of this part where they basically, like, you know, 3PO tells the story and they're deciding where they're going to join. But there's a whole passage of, like, the Ewoks, like, talking to each other and sort of, like, one of them convincing, it might even be Wicket convincing them all to, like, join. But it's like a whole long passage of, like, you know, we've got to do this, we're all, you know, this is our fight and stuff. So it's really weird that they sort of, you know, here it's kind of breezed over. They say a few things in Ewok. But in the novel, it's all kind of, like, laid out.
I far prefer this storytelling than Broom Boy's gang and their storytelling at their...
They had, like, props and stuff as well.
Now that I've had time to settle with it, Broom Boy really shits me. I'm not a fan.
He won't be back.
No. Oh, this Ewok's right up in Chewie's face. Like, they're practically making out.
Oh, a bit starved for affection, these Ewoks.
A lot of humour in this.
Han's fine in this movie.
Here we go. There's
always one person who leaves the party to get all emo. You know, it's sort of like
he's wearing the black,
having the DMs at the end of the party. The night of the party, a couple of people go off into the corner somewhere, and
in a few more years, he's dye his hair blue and wear a flame shirt.
Yeah, by this point of the party, I'm already passed out and made an ass of myself. Like,
yeah, I've been asked to leave.
Yeah, and a far cooler dude than me is played all emo and
played all emo and doing a DM with the pretty girl.
To him. Yeah.
Until her boyfriend
and the conversation probably inevitably turned to, can you believe what Criss did in there? What an arsehole. This is the infamous, her memories can't be right.
Well, it depends. It all depends on when his adopted mother. Does she even know she's adopted? Well, he does say real mother, so she must have established that she was adopted.
She's pretty good about it, like, run away.
Yeah, just go on the ship, dude. You're a good pilot. If you want to go blow up the Death Star again, we could use another pilot to get in there.
Who's the one person who's done it before.
Yeah, surely
really
Luke
could use him.
Shouldn't Luke be more of a help, like flying a spaceship and blowing up the Death Star?
Mm.
He's really unloading on her, isn't he?
I know, he really is.
Darth
Like,
Vader's
they've
my
all been
dad.
having a pretty good time, and he's just gone all heavy on her.
Missed opportunity not to have Leia have more force powers in the sequels?
I think there was an article that came out today where, like, her brother was saying that she was gonna like use a lightsaber and all this kind of stuff, but it might have been very preliminary kind of thing. Maybe. I mean, I like the idea that she just kept with the military training and all that kind of thing and led the resistance. And
Yeah, because I guess we'll never know, because the rumour was that the third movie was meant to be the Leia movie, like the Han movie, the Luke movie, the Leia movie.
yeah.
Just
Somehow I've always known.
That's a really quick writer's trick to be just sort of like move on, you know.
Imagine if the follow line had been, it was so hot when you kissed me, though.
Yeah. Let's just do it again. I don't even care. You can. Like, surely
Why can't you?
this job can be done. There's a whole bunch of them, and they've got the Ewoks. They don't need these two.
It's new dialogue in the Force Awakens trailer where my father has it, I have it, my sister has it, and you have that power too. Who was he originally talking to? in The Force Awakens.
Isn't it that line?
No.
Well, you just were looking at it then.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
thought it
because
was lifted
who's
from
he
that.
saying, and you have that power too?
Yeah, because he never saw her, and he wasn't in the first movie, was he?
I'll have to go back and check.
Because I'm
This
sure
is a
he says in the
pretty-
trailer, my sister has it, and you have it too.
Yeah.
So is Han being a dick here, or is he... He looks like he's just being like...
I'm
Kind
just a bit jealous.
He's
I wouldn't be cool with what I just saw. He's seen her kiss Luke right in front of him. But if he had have put her away, Mitch, would he be feeling this threatened?
Oh, so you think they haven't yet?
No. Maybe just hand.
I do like his sort of...
Hand Solo.
I like how he just sort of like goes, ah... So he
Women
gives
are
up
so-
pretty quick.
I'm
He gives
with
up
him,
pretty
like,
quick.
women, like,
he's
we're
just
doing
like,
like-
all right, I'm going to go find an Ewok to fuck then. All right, whatever. That's old. Listen, that's Han's growing up. Right now, he's just like, oh, nah, she's still the best looking girl on this planet.
Let me apologise. Good for him. He's evolving.
He has.
He's woke.
He's...
People don't
Harrison
like change.
Ford quite... How tall is Harrison Ford? Is he tall?
6'1".
You reckon?
I think
You
so.
just pulled that out of
I
your
did
ass.
pull it out of my
Yeah,
ass.
If only you had a
I'm
magical
Google.
device that you can Google.
Inadvertently, whenever I do these commentary things, I always get fixated on how tall people are.
How tall are you, Josh?
I'm 6 foot.
Exactly.
So
It's the same
180,
height
yeah,
as me. 182.
181, 182, yeah.
Yeah.
In the old language.
That's why, like, Mitch always annoys me that he got those extra bit of
Few
height.
inches.
AT-ATs in the jungle.
Yeah. It's a shame they didn't use that a little bit more.
Matt Vader, not as shiny.
Oh, yeah.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah, he's ceremonial Vader. This is jungle
every day.
Vader.
This is
So
every
are
day
we
of
to
Vader.
assume he switched suits?
Yeah.
Like he didn't want to wear his good suit?
Well, he was wearing a good suit for the Emperor. Here he's just like, what?
6'1".
Yeah, okay. Maybe he's going, I might have to get in a fight here. I don't want to have to wear my good
Like,
outfit.
clearly that's an old shitty Vader suit.
Yeah, it's going to get dirty.
Do you know what he looks like there? The Commonwealth Bank money box. Do you have that? I've got it.
No, I might have had it years ago.
Yeah, where it's just the Vader head.
I remember as an 11-year-old freaking out by this. Why are they talking and not fighting?
They're father and son. It's not time to make a change. Just relax.
So how old is Darth Vader in this movie? So if he's 10 in Phantom Menace, he's... What is he? 20 in Attack of the Clones, 23
In Revenge of the Sith.
And what's it? So he's 43, 44, possibly 45 at a pinch.
So your age, Mitch.
Because you and Vader... I mean, it was always depressing when I became older than Homer Simpson. I think it's 38.
Oh, is that how old Homer
Yeah, I think
is?
Homer's 38.
Oh, don't tell me that. That is depressing. It's weird. I never thought of it. Vader held and ignited the green
Ignited the
lightsaber.
green, yeah.
So Luke's definitely in his outfit that I always picture him being in now.
Yeah. I saw the a photo of the Galaxy of Adventures Luke the other day on the Yak Face. I think they had it was out in the wild.
Yep.
I'm like, I got to get myself one of those. I hope they come to Australia. Although I went to Big W yesterday, and they had no Black Series, and they had those weird gold figures. I was like, who wants these?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit of a sucker for an all gold figure. So he said Obi-Wan once felt as you did. Is there a story in there of Obi-Wan trying to turn Vader back? Does Obi-Wan have a moment? Have we maybe got something here? Does Obi-Wan have a moment of I've got to
Going
just
back
try
and
and get
seeing
through.
Vader.
I've got like he finds out he lived,
Yep.
and I've got to go back and see if I can get him back.
Yeah,
This is my fault.
yeah. I mean, I like the idea of like talking the Obi-Wan show that like they establish in the timeline that's like it kicks off that the Empire just shows up on Tatooine, and Obi-Wan's just like, oh crap! Like, what are they here for? Are they here just because they've eventually gotten to Tatooine? You know, because they're just working their way through the galaxy, or are they specifically here looking for me, or are they looking for something? But yeah,
Because when does Obi-Wan discover Anakin didn't die?
Yeah, I don't know. I think in the books, I think in the EU it's different. I don't know whether it's been established in the... Because I think there was an Obi-Wan book that came out like just before they rubbed the canon, which I think that was in that.
Rub the cannon.
You could use that.
There's a T-shirt.
That's a bit of a slightly shonky matte painting there too, actually.
We could just having a chat with 3PO there.
So does he understand? Oh, no, he's
talking
it's okay.
3PO. Wicked's quite smart. He goes, oh, these idiots aren't going to understand me. I need to talk to 3PO and he'll pass along. So we're going to see a real big version of spaceships turning up in the new movie.
All digital. Don't have to worry about doing models. Well, I think they kind of they nailed it by now, really, hadn't they? For the most part, there's a slightly shonky compositing there, but for the most part,
so I think this was a world record back in the day. The most amount of composite shots that overlapped on each other.
I'm a big Akbar fan. I know people got mad, going, "Oh, people are complaining, but how Akbar went out, who cares?" And it's like, oh, I always dug Akbar. Like, it is what it is, how he died, but
yep, he has his moment.
Yeah. Did you know, Mitch, that there's a 10 num?
You've mentioned that before. I'm still confused.
So I didn't even know, but when I had that stupid Topps digital card trader app on my phone, I kept getting 10 num. It was like, I didn't know it was somebody after 9. That's how I knew he was 9 num, because there's a 10 num.
Oh, I didn't even click that.
Yeah.
God, that's stupid.
Yeah. That's why I was like, because I always called him Neon Num. And then I was like, oh, it's 9 num because this is 10 num.
Oh, so
there's
like
probably an 8 num out there.
That's, Is it like Junior, like, somebody the third?
It's just Star Wars name wackiness.
Yeah, it's just somebody having a little inside joke.
Now, I got the free 9 num back in the day when you sent.
When you sent away, I got it as well. Yep. I remember I had to get my aunt.
It's no Darth Icky, but long story.
A new thing.
He didn't come. He just came in a box, didn't he?
Yep, a white box.
Yeah, he didn't have a
Not
card
on a
or
card.
anything. Yeah, I think I bought a 9 num at the toy fair recently.
Why would Princess Leia covering 3PO's mouth do anything?
Why does C-3PO? Why does he have a mouth?
To light up. Aesthetics. Because I assume Anakin built him off a kit.
Oh, like from
Because we've seen many versions of 3PO looking droids. So I assume there was just a model kit that he built, a Revel kit that he got from Hobby Co. Good move by the Ewoks. Han's pretty impressed. It's funny, you hear women talk about how they want to bang Harrison Ford all the time. Hamill doesn't seem to get the love. Why don't the chicks dig Hamill?
His face. Because he ruined his face.
You think it's that shallow, that he had an accident and they're not fond of him. If this was Geek Dudes, we'd start talking about Mr. Bad in E Street. But we won't. This little Ewok's pretty good driving.
I was going to say, how do you learn to ride one of these things? Do you ride or drive a speeder bike?
Well, if you can teach it to ride a speeder bike, maybe they can become slicers. There's a Rex.
Love to do with the beard.
Captain Rex in the beard. Mitch, they say that one of the clones ended up becoming him, and people are outraged and furious about it. It is. He didn't look like a Maori to me.
No.
But maybe if a Maori gets that old, that's what they turn into. You just missed Captain Rex, Josh. Pop up on the screen.
I've had to take a quick bathroom break, and I've missed him. Now, is it him? I think
I think they've backed away from it, haven't they?
I think they've backed away and actually done a cartoon where they're both in it, where there's like an obviously Captain Rex guy.
Well, look at your windows now.
Look at the windows either side.
I reckon I think you're onto something.
Just looking for this establishing shot. That's like it's like a little thing up like a pole. So there's only one way in, one way out.
Vader's now before the Emperor, and he is so shiny.
So where's the shaft then? So is it but like if you're going down the shaft, you're going down. You're not actually, because I always assumed you were going down to like the middle of the Death Star. But if he's in an elevated pole, he's only going down the length of that pole. So it's actually not that far.
And he explodes when he gets the bottom.
You two missed a great dramatic turn by Pelps. He knew they were in the room, and he timed that perfectly. So are you saying to me, Mitch, that Vader has changed in this time before Palpatine because he's shiny again?
Now, where do they go? They haven't left the room. They've just gone to the other side of the pole.
You're like, oh, he's at it again.
Royal
Just
Guards.
go around the other side. And
He's big on dismissing people. Like when he
would.
watches the
When
bubble.
you're in charge.
This is like you at wrestling shows. You just dismiss people, don't you?
Oh no, Vader is a bit matte there. I don't think he's full shine. Mitch will tell you if you come and visit me and I have enough.
Yep.
I slap the thigh and I go, get out.
clear the room.
He'll slap the thigh. People will move. If they don't, then he'll say, "Get out."
It's a quite upfront get out.
And there's a few of us who test fresh to see how long we can stay.
Interesting, he refers to a lightsaber as a Jedi's weapon.
It's
even
not much
though
like his father's at all. It's not even the right colour.
Not a laser sword.
But I mean,
So why did people assume Sith, like after this, why would they assume Sith had a lightsaber? Because he's saying it was a Jedi's weapon.
Vader's-
we didn't know what Sith were, did we? Like, they didn't utter the word Sith in these
I
movies.
mean, Jedi robes, were they a thing? Or was in the original movie he was just wearing a brown,
yeah,
dressing
Obi-Wan
gown.
dressed for Tatooine, not dressed as a Jedi.
Yeah. And then it all of a sudden became a uniform.
Yeah.
I found in Revenge of the Sith Palpatine's wedge in his forehead quite confronting, but it is there in this. Like, I never really thought about him having the two pronounced lumpy bits on his forehead, but
It's
is
funny
there.
that he just sort of... That's not just because he's a million years old. It's because he got into a fight, and that's how he
But
kind of
is
got
it
out.
that? Because there's been the debate of did the lightning do that to him, or was it just his true self?
Oh, sort of
Popping
coming out
out,
over
yeah.
the top of the thing. Oh,
I'm not sure what's been.
So he's meant to be a race of some sort.
But like, why wouldn't he
No,
just cover
no.
himself back up again later then? Or maybe he can.
Because he didn't seem too bothered about the fact that his face got
He was
fucked
having a
up.
ball.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, like one of the Rebels
Having the time of
episodes
his
where
life.
he turns... Well, I think the Rebels finale, he shows himself as like...
Yeah.
And he's actually normal looking. So, I mean, you could be right, actually. Then now he's just like, I just feel more comfortable looking sort of weird.
You
So
both
they picked up a 30-year-old actor to play this old guy.
You both
Yeah.
are wearing
No.
glasses. Putting in contacts is annoying.
Nah, not once
no.
you've got the hang of it.
Yeah.
I've
I
been
think
wearing
if-
glasses since I was 4. So
If it wasn't something that you did regularly, it is. Like when I first got contacts, it was a bloody nightmare and I hated it. But after a while, you can just sort of...
In case you're wondering why we're talking about that, Sheev's clearly got contacts in.
I was just looking at that going, Mark Hamill's got some very striking blue eyes.
Yeah, Josh, we were asking why do women talk about how hot Harrison is, but they're not into Mark Hamill? Hamill doesn't seem to get the love that Harrison gets.
Well, he's not a rogue, is he? He's the boy. Harrison's the man.
Wilhelm Scream.
But I mean, Harrison is elevated again above most men. Like he's
I
still.
just, there was a stormtrooper that was trying to wiggle to get to get behind the other ones. I've never noticed that before. That was hilarious.
No, I do love an all-wings report in.
Spaceship.
All-wings report in is one of my favourite things in Star Wars.
And it looked like one of the Moncal were just bopping along to some tunes then.
I think if I got to be in a Star Wars movie, if I got to say, Red 5 standing by, it would probably be my favourite thing that I could do. Put me in a cockpit and give me a call sign.
What made them keep bringing Wedge back? Because it just sounds like something Lucas wouldn't give two shits about.
Probably did. The continuity
why
of it
would
all.
they even have stacked? Like, why would... It's just weird in A New Hope that he actually survives.
Yeah. But like you know what I mean? Like, he willy-nilly, everybody just got picked
Like,
off.
even like his
Maybe
best
it's like
mate.
Grunberg. Maybe he needs to be in the...
They're in my consciousness at the moment because I'm reading Resistance Reborn and there's a lot of that.
That mouth did not move at all then on that Moncal.
Like,
Seeing this for the first time, I was like,
It
what the
still
hell
looks
is going
great,
on?
doesn't it?
So much stuff.
but for all the bluster about Star Destroyers, they don't do that much. Like, there's a zillion of them, and the Rebel fleet are hanging in pretty well. Or is this
there's a-
Sheev's design
No, I
of
think
I just
there's a line
hold
that
back?
comes up where they're just like the Star Destroyers are like, we're not going to attack. He's like, no, I just need you to stay here and box them in, basically, because I think he wants to show off that the Death Star is going to work. We used to say that to my girls, when they're like, reaching for something like a sweeter thing, like, you want this, don't you? He's quite demeaning of the lightsaber for a guy who actually, threw one around for a while.
Yeah, and had a blast.
Yeah, and was loving
zipping
it.
around with it.
He's obviously just, effing with him.
Yeah, I think he's mocking him. Oh, you think you're a Jedi? I don't give a shit about the Jedi. I just wonder with this, do arseholes really watch this and go, oh, I wish Luke had have turned? Like, those dudes that just love evil and dark and ripping Star Destroyers out of the sky and doing all this cool evil stuff. It's like, who watches this and wants Luke to turn? You want him to take out Sheev and redeem his dad. That's the spirit of Star Wars.
Well, it's like a lot of people have said with like the Dark Ray stuff in 9. It's just like,
who wants to see that?
People and go like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see my hero, dabble with the dark side. Thanks.
We never really got Ray. We still don't know the story yet.
Well, I know. We don't know what the context
and we don't want to turn her. No, as in...
No, but who even wants to see it?
But we never... Luke never went to that point, not even in a vision,
But that's also... I think we also saw people had such a hard time of him pulling the lightsaber on Ben is they couldn't contemplate Luke even attempting something like that.
But he does pull the lights. He does try to chop the Emperor's head off until Vader steps in.
Looking at this now, he's had a bad run. He lost his aunt and uncle in the first movie and his mentor. Second one, he lost his hand, found out the big bad of the universe is his dad. It's not a happy life he's living. And he never got to Toshi Station.
Mitch's defense lawyer.
There's still a power converter sitting behind under a bench somewhere with his name on it.
It was a different time. Ewoks with their bow and arrows against the might of the Empire with their guns. It's the whole Vietnam War.
Not shooting.
But with the Vietnam War comparisons, were the Viet Cong really getting around with spears? They had guns, didn't they?
They did, but it was just the guerrilla warfare, the fact you couldn't see them.
Yeah, there wasn't sort of like a defined line of they're there and we're here. They just sort of... the Americans moved into their turf, and I just like to think that those guys on the speeder bikes are just like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to
go get some help.
I'll go get some help. Someone better go tell someone about this.
And Ewoks love this way too much. They're having a ball.
Oh, they're getting ready for Din Din. Every stormtrooper down is a stormtrooper eaten.
There's an action figure there.
Oh, with the
glider, Ewok.
Yep. Oh, I didn't realise an Ewok gets roughhoused and tossed by a stormtrooper.
Well, we only see sort of one Ewok. Oh, that'd have to kill you, wouldn't it?
Yep. Ewok fell out of the sky and stepped on, I think, is the implication.
This is funny.
I do like this.
Try to trip it up and they just get dragged.
Tree. There's obviously a bunch of stagehands pulling that rope on the other side of that tree where they've split the shot.
The ATST, not the most practical.
They keep bringing it back, though.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
Deadeye Han, good shot.
It's just weird if you just buy a droid, you can just basically break your way into anywhere.
Like, it's weird that they haven't built droid-proof locks.
Security.
Because surely droids are breaking into everything.
Yeah, it's just like having a phone.
That's why you don't overthink Star Wars. And catapult. They did the toy of the catapult too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
So who are they fighting most of the time, Ewoks? Like, they've obviously got all the gear ready.
Yeah, who are they capturing? Who are they fighting?
But they wouldn't have built all this stuff overnight. They've obviously got all this stuff in reserve for who, if it's the rival... Is it the rival Ewok village, down the road that
maybe they find the people on the oceanic moon.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they tried colonising it and the Ewoks had to fight back.
Although there's dudes in those Ewok movies, isn't there? Like bad dudes.
I saw the first one. I don't remember. I never bothered with the second.
I'll have to go back and rest.
I went to watch... What was the first one?
Caravan of Courage.
And it ruined the family's weekend. So I've gone back and watched it again. It's no good. Yeah, I find it weird that they were only TV specials in America.
Yeah, I saw Caravan of Courage at the
cinemas, yeah.
So here you go. I think he does actually... Yeah, it is actually acknowledged.
So is that a Super Star Destroyer at the front?
Yeah. I remember in the Heir to the Empire book, they said that was like the big blow to the Empire, because the Super Star Destroyer had like all the best people in the Empire on it, and when it blew up, that was like all their best and brightest.
Interesting that the Emperor... I forgot that he calls him my young apprentice.
He's just sort of established... he's using a bit of... He's got a gaslighting Luke a little bit, isn't he? He's just sort of just telling him that this is the way it's going to be. He'd had to work a lot harder on Anakin for years to get him on side.
Yeah, Anakin was a project
like a
for a long time.
He just tells Luke that he's his apprentice, and Luke just almost goes on with it.
Oh.
Num looks like he just did a fart. It was a shart.
Like, there's a lot going on. Maybe people won't notice.
Yeah, do you question smells in a star battle like that, or you just go, nah, look, it
How
comes with the
bad do you think
territory?
the Falcon would smell?
Oh, yeah. He's not cleaning that thing. Although they were out in space for a while in Empire, there might have been nothing to do but clean it.
There's a few Ewoks eating it, more than I remember.
Yeah, but we get the emotional moment soon.
Oh, yeah, the actual...
But the stormtroopers are dropping from the weakest shots. I think it's the wrestling in me. I'm getting mad telling them to lay it in. 3PO takes a lot of steps. If he had a Fitbit, his step count would be really high.
It must suck in that 3PO costume. I can understand why Anthony Daniels is a bit of a... I feel like I'm ragging on Anthony Daniels a lot this episode, but...
Were you shocked he was straight?
No, I never really thought about it when I was a kid.
Convinced Anthony Daniels... Like, as a tangent, I just assumed he was a...
No, I never really thought about it, to be honest.
I'm surprised he's bringing out his book before the last movie, because wouldn't you want to tell more story? And
I guess it's the last chance to promo on
the back of it.
On the back of it, though. Like, I mean, there was a lot of people at the episode 9 panel who were just like, "Dude, wrap up about your book." There it is.
No.
I am very curious about what my daughter will think of this when we actually get around to watching Return of the Jedi and when she's a bit bigger, because I know that she won't like this.
I think that about my son, because I've only shown him A New Hope so far. He's 5.5. But the other day he goes, "Do you want to watch Jurassic Park?" Trying to convince his 3-year-old sister to watch Jurassic Park, saying, do you want to see dinosaurs eat people? So, it's a little bit desensitized to this sort of thing. Good point.
Why not
Lando.
just run?
The Geonosians did well designing that Death Star. When you think
It's a
about
bit
it,
fuzzy on who did what now, isn't it? Rogue One kind of made that, but they got the second one up pretty quick. You sort of wonder when they
you'd have
started.
to think they were building it simultaneously.
Or is it just the thing where it's like once you finally nail it, it's easy just to knock up another one?
Because I wonder what his idea was. Did he want a fleet of Death Stars, or was he happy just with one that could zip around?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They need 2. It's cheaper to make 2 than 1.
Once you've done the molds.
Yeah.
Like my dad built a boat with a bunch of guys and they built 2 at the same time because it was like, if we're going to go to all this trouble, we might as well make 2 of everything.
Good to have a spare.
Yeah, good to have a spare.
The Sheev, not the Sheev, the Snoke scene is so Return of a Jedi, isn't it? Just with Return of a Jedi
play
with
on
a
it,
twist.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember
It's gone for the lightsaber.
he's not even striking the right way, though.
No.
Like, he looks like he's going to chop his legs there.
Where
What
was
was he
that?
waving
Yeah,
to?
because it looks like he's going to chop him off at the knees, like where the saber hits.
Chewie's costume holds up pretty well in natural light, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's natural hair.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
It's weird. He
The
does
Tarzan.
the Tarzan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had that figure too.
No displays on the screen of the ATST. So what were they looking out at? Like, that screen was black. They had no
Well,
vision.
they've got little windows.
Little windows.
Oh, now it's on. Like, there's green lights on there now.
Good physical acting.
Yeah, that was good how Chewie almost fell off the top as it started to take
Or he
off
probably
again.
just still fell off.
Those Ewoks take to driving vehicles like nothing I've seen.
I'd be curious to see what that set was like, whether it was just like the top half of like the top third of it, I suppose, he was just standing on, and then they just sort of...
Wobbled it?
Yeah, wobbled it. It was just on top of I don't know, a ladder or something, or...
It's got to
Those troopers got burnt to a crisp in that ATST.
disintegrated. Very Ed 209 from Robocop.
Because it was originally going to be Wookiees, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Ewoks going to be Wookiee?
Could you imagine David Lynch directing this?
Oh, no, it'd be so cool. It'd be so bonkers.
Well, I would have hated it probably as a kid. I would love it now, but yeah.
Has he spoken much about it?
He doesn't speak about anything.
Okay.
No.
No, I think I read an article recently. He did a Q&A that came up, and he was just like, "Oh, George just sort of slightly brought it up, and I just said I wasn't interested." I think that was about as far as it went, really. I don't think it was it ever went much further than that discussion.
Because
Well,
it's
it
funny
was
because
supposed to
he made Dune not long after because of the hype of Star Wars. This is a ridiculous political science fiction, hard science fiction book.
Yeah.
But they tried to merchandise it like Star Wars.
Aren't they
So there
remaking it at the moment?
Yes. Villeneuve is
So
directing.
it's going to be another amazing long sci-fi that nobody will see.
Yes.
like
it'll,
Blade Runner.
it'll be beautiful.
Well, it'll
It
actually
always
be good.
reminds me of Ed 209 watching
the wonky-
the wonky
stop motion.
ATST drop. Oh, well done, Han. You just
I
locked
don't
the
got
door.
it. Oh, no.
That's where he grabs her boob. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
I'm
You never
copping a
noticed that
feel.
before?
No.
Oh, yeah, that was always hey, look at that. Han grabs a feel.
Well, she admits that they had an affair on the set. Was it this or was it Empire that she said
I'm
they
not
hooked
too
up?
sure. Because I think Harrison Ford was married, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not, really?
Look, what happens on set stays on set.
It's just weird that there's no one else around. That the whole fight is completely... they're still trying to get into that.
It's amazing the Ewoks didn't take out Chewie's ATST because they weren't to know he's in there. And they were taking out those other ones like it was nothing. Luke and Vader really going at it.
But it's amazing how much better Luke is all of a sudden. Like, he barely got a shot in before. Has Vader just completely just dropped the ball, or is he just...
He's starting to doubt. We don't know what Luke did in the meantime.
I guess
Has he
so.
learnt?
Like, he's obviously not scared like he was in Empire, but...
And the way Vader flipped down that
I know,
stairs.
it was almost like he was on wires then, wasn't it? It was sort of the...
What did we say, Luke? Not today.
I won't fight you apart from those hacks I was just saying at you and
I
kicked
was
you down the
as a kid
stairs.
just going like, oh, well, don't stop the fight. The fighting's awesome.
But it's not like Vader's really going in for the kill. Like, he doesn't want to take Luke out.
He's definitely trying harder because in Empire he uses one hand the whole time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's basically just kind of like brushes him aside.
But Luke's sort of coming at him a lot better as well. Because the Emperor's sort of like, I'm done with Anakin at this point. You know, I've got the new and improved. I'll take him. Why can't the Emperor feel the conflict? He should be a little bit more concerned.
Maybe the Emperor doesn't really know that much. He just says he does. Like I said, he's a bit of a gaslighter. He just basically just tries to tell you what he wants you to think.
He played out in Revenge of the Sith really well. I love Vader just launches
Yeah.
the saber, just chucks
That's a
it at
pretty
him.
shonky design that if you chop one little bit off, the whole thing will fall down as well.
I guess if Luke dies here, that's the end of... Because they don't know about Leia. It's the end of the Jedi. He's got the Death Star up and running. Like, things are pretty much in control.
Yeah.
What does he want to do then? What, just to retire?
I guess you just wipe
Retire
that inconvenience and get back to...
Oh, he wants to
running
avoid
things.
death, doesn't he? That's his big thing.
The Emperor?
Yeah. Or was that just Plagueis' thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just wanted to be in control. He probably just likes this stuff. It's probably just keeps his days busy.
What do you like to do with your days? Build planets.
What do you do when you're in charge?
Yell at middle management.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Kylo will be doing at the start of Rise of Skywalker. He's sort of running the First Order. It's sort of lonely at the top.
Yeah.
See,
If I was the
want to burn
Stormtroopers,
that.
why not start blasting?
Yeah, why not
I
go
would have
out?
taken my shot against the Ewoks rocks.
They've only got to shoot Han and run back inside. But those Ewoks are on top of the thing. They're never going to get to them in time. They've
not
got
all
guns.
of them.
You've got to shoot one guy, you can run back inside and close the door again.
See, this is what, because the Emperor got so lazy, he allowed everything that flowed down, and his company was terribly ran. Darth going off on his own
What is
missions.
this
without
part
his
of the
son.
room? What are the bits hanging down? What is he standing under?
Yeah, I'd like to see I would like to see this as a video game level. They're actually quite good because they give you a sense of because they've done one with the carbon freezing chamber. You can go I get an idea. Okay, it's this in the middle, and there's this stuff where you can sort of walk around and get a feel for the layout.
Because Padme didn't know that she was having twins.
Which is insane that she doesn't know that she's having twins.
It does happen, though.
Natalie Portman is 50
tiny.
kilos.
And they're force-sensitive twins
And we've
that she
all
had
had
in
children.
there as well.
If you've got your pregnant partner sitting on a couch with a baby and something's moving and grooving, it's usually pretty easy to tell what's going on in there.
How did Anakin not sense there were two in there?
Oh, well, she's a politician. She's obviously the smart one in the group too. You think that she should know. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, does it, really? I mean, I hope we get this sort of emotional fight in Rise of Skywalker.
The music helps make it too.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. And the green and red contrast.
With the black,
Yeah. Green better than blue, people.
Vader is out for the count.
Now, that old suit
Butchering
didn't
him.
do him any favours.
He's cooked.
Sheev's now going to wander down on him.
He's just a crazy old man, isn't he?
You need to get a bit closer.
Everything's
get
funny.
a closer look.
I've never paid attention to him putting his hands together this worked out really well. And kill him. He's not threatened that Luke's going to kill his dad and then come for him. He's like, he's got that sweet lightning up his sleeve.
And the Emperor gives up pretty quick too. Luke sort of says no. And then he's like, well, you got to die. He's put all his investment in these Skywalkers. He's like, right, well, you've defied me once, I'm just going to kill you. You don't think I could work on you a bit longer?
Great hero moment.
It is. I wonder if Rey's going to call herself a Jedi at the start of... Do you feel like it'll be a final thing? Rey takes up that mantle?
It would be silly to throw away the Jedi. Everybody goes, maybe it gets called Skywalker or something like that. It's I'm not so sure on that. Jedi...
I love how huge this explosion is. And they're right opposite it. It's okay, no worries.
No blowback.
No blowback.
Akbar's ready to go. So are you going to go to Disneyland next year?
Yeah,
So
we've got
close.
another day in the house booked after Celebration to go.
Because I was just watching the Falcon and thinking you're going to be in the Falcon. And
I'd love to. I'll go there and stand in line for a few hours if I have to. Yeah, just to do that. I might even tack on another couple of days. I haven't realised. We've got the house booked for one more day, but that's just for while everyone's there. It's just too expensive just to book for me to stay in there by myself.
This was so painful to watch. Even his teeth were electrified.
Does Snoke have lightning? I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he blasts Kylo with lightning, which there's a lot of... That Snoke's got a lot to answer for. I know people love not knowing, but seriously, who the fuck...
Who is this guy? Yeah, will we get answers? Don't know.
Was he a secret 2IC that we had no idea Sheev had tucked away just to carry things over? because you can't. Not everybody's just firing off Sith lightning.
Yeah.
He's just got a dirty helmet now.
Yeah, he's taken a few hits now.
Die.
I do like how much he's enjoying it. He probably doesn't get stacks of opportunities to really use his skills.
Anakin's such a pussy, though. Like, he lets Luke take so much of a blasting with that lightning. Like, how much...
That's where that Vader... Did you think Vader knows how to use Force lightning?
Or can he not do it because of his robot body?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe he'd short himself out.
Do you need hands to be able to conduct
I just thought maybe if you're conducting yourself electricity, half machine, you just, switch your own.
Oh, the no.
Oh, I forgot about the no. God, that's... Yeah.
God damn it, George.
The skeleton.
So, all right, let's look at the replay here.
That's a long way down.
It's a long way down.
That could be just
the most powerful man on the planet. But what is that?
What is that? Is that just the... It does look like he explodes.
It's him teleporting.
Do you think so?
I don't know that that's an explosion. I don't know what that is.
Do you think that's him just being sucked into a vortex somewhere else?
I think it's a plausible out. People won't like it. I certainly thought he died.
Yep. You had no reason not to.
So he's fallen down this shaft.
Big blue explosion-y sort of thing. But
Why
not an
did that
explosion.
stuff shoot up? Like, if he was to fall from a great thing and hit the ground, would blue power just shoot up from his body? Is that what we're believing? If he fell down an endless pit into space, nothing blue would have shot up. So what exactly happened? I think there's a lot of outs there.
You look at the game tape. The game tape is inconclusive. We've done the RDS, not the RDS, the DRS.
People aren't going to be happy with what we're saying, but look, no. What's the thing, Mitch? No body, no death.
No proof. Yep. A lot of tashes, man.
Yeah, a lot of it. The mustache was big at this
82.
point. A mustache is a stupid thing.
I've never really... there's the guy who fluffs his lines. Copy Gold Leader. Like, is his one Star Wars line? You can't quite spit it out.
Oh.
Their number is quite animated.
Well, when I had Dallas Woodrow Wood on the pod the other day, we were talking about Lando, whether Lando is actually a particularly good pilot or not, whether he just sort of surrounds himself with talented people. We could have established that he's okay, but he's not an amazing pilot. And that kind of just shows that he's knocking the dish off.
Was that an A-wing zipping by? Mm-hmm. Bit of tally.
Yeah, tally didn't make it.
No, they're not good ships for living, though.
I mean, that's a pretty good hit. You've only taken one bit out in that whole ship.
See, that's what makes Admiral Akbar a hero. He's not cheering the death of thousands of people.
It's amazing how much emotion they got out of
that puppet.
That puppet of just the way he said. Like, I really felt his relief as he sat back in that seat.
And this is weird that nobody is noticing that Darth Vader is being carried out.
They don't care. Like, at this point,
let's get out of here.
We've seen one of these things go down before. Head for Z Hills.
Oh, you mean like an evacuation?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he would have weighed a ton. That suit would not be light. It's not like Leia picking up Wicket. Like, this thing is super heavy.
Well, David Prowse is a pretty tall, heavy bloke too.
I wish George had have kept Star Wars just to fuck with people and have Hayden's face eventually. Old Hayden's face, just to drive people crazy. Sebastian Shaw.
Maybe just do it when you get on the ship, get it clear.
It looks like, how does this thing work? Like,
I just love if somebody was looking for a ship and just spotted them, just ran up past them onto the thing and got onto the ship. Took
yoink!
Yeah, you snooze, you lose.
This is my Uber.
Like, he looks better than me for 45.
Just can't not think of the Billy Joel meme now.
Oh, Billy Joel does look like him. I just think of in Chasing Amy. what's the guy's name when he's talked about, the biggest, blackest brother in the galaxy?
Oh, yeah.
When he
He's
becomes,
across the old white dude.
yeah.
Shaka,
Yeah.
That's pretty rough on Hayden, considering... I mean, Hayden Christensen must be in his mid-30s by now, so he's only 10 years off that.
How's Anakin's arrogance of tell your sister you're right about me? He just wants to whitewash history.
Yeah.
Like, forget everything I've done. Just tell her I was a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, you knew.
I was good once.
I was good. Like
I think that plays out into the books later, doesn't it? Like, 'cause they find out that Leia's her father, and she sort of gets disgraced from all
yeah, she gets outed on it.
chased out of public service.
See, this is the Luke I always picture now, the flap down on the outfit, the all-black outfit with the green lightsaber. That's Jedi Luke
toys?
to me.
Have you got that Hot Toys?
No.
Oh, is it
Does the
available?
Hot Toy have the flap?
I think they're bringing one out with a flap.
Then you're getting it.
Well, I didn't realise that the one I got was so different. It's the Jedi. It's Jabba's Palace Luke. And I think Power of the Force in 96, 97 confused me because their Jedi Luke had an all-black robe and a black outfit, so they mixed the two together.
The Black Series one that's just come out's got a brown robe.
That's an exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the EB Games one that we got before anywhere else, unbelievably.
Now, it's like I got the Cara Dune and stuff like that series out here. It's not out in America.
What a world.
So Luke flying the Imperial shuttle, I'm cool with that.
Hopefully some dude in an X-Wing just shoots him on the way
That's what I
out.
mean. It's like chewing the AT-ST, really dodged a bullet, not getting attacked, and now Luke's not going to get shot down. A lot of ships getting out of there.
I mean, it does blow up. How much is... just like, is there any wreckage?
There's not much left.
There's not much left.
Not big
but look how
bits.
close that explosion is. It's literally above you. That thing is going to drop straight from the sky. But anyway.
But they're small enough pieces, they should disintegrate like meteorites anyway.
Yeah.
Leia finally getting her shot. I never noticed that she's getting her wound tended to.
Not a
Well, she's got
euphemism.
this sort of little under outfit that I didn't really notice.
See, no one talks to each other in this.
Yeah.
Just tell him. Explain. There's no reason not to.
She's looking at him like, what are you, crazy? Like,
Yeah.
of course I love him.
Like, why would that be a problem? Like, duh.
Those Skywalkers are a mess. That whole family. Like, they don't explain anything. They just assume things. They whitewash history. Like, it's ridiculous what they get up to.
When did you find this out?
It's like, but you guys kissed. I was there.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
And then
So
you're
she
kissing
made out with
me,
him. It's like, it's funny what a guy will just let go.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
He's like, well, I win, so I'll...
But see his reaction to that kiss, Mitch. Like, that's not a dude that's stuck his peen in.
Oh, you're okay.
Now he's just like,
they have
Yeah. And now Wicket's like, can I watch? And it's all awkward.
It's like the Joneses and the Wonder Dog.
Wicket's like, I've got to play. There's a place up here you two can.
yeah, you could use my room.
I also hate that Yub Nub's no longer in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a bummer.
I mean, I remember leaving the cinema and Yub Nub was the last thing I was in my head. It was probably there for weeks.
Give Luke credit. He dragged that whole body up into the shuttle after he died, which weighed a ton, and then flew out. Like, he made pretty good time.
And he chopped a bunch of wood. Like, I guess he's got his
got a
lightsaber.
lightsaber.
Yeah, no, the Ewoks had that ready to go. That would stink.
I would
burning.
like to... I would start to smell like barbecue. It's like, not again.
Like tires and barbecue.
I'm
like,
already half burnt. I'd like to know the story of like who goes back to get his gear, or whether Luke just takes it with him. Like, I like to think that the burnt Vader mask and stuff Luke had with him all along, and he had it in the Jedi Temple, and Ben actually.
I don't think Ben went to Endor.
I think he just nicked it from the Jedi Temple. It was just there. He knew that Luke had kept it, or it was in Luke's office, and Ben would go in there and talk with it.
I like the idea of showing the other planet celebrating, but I still would have liked to have brought it back and had Yub Nub
Yeah,
playing. That
Tatooine looks shonky for a.
is Naboo.
The booze.
I didn't realise they're saying Weezer free.
I wonder if they'll come back to this, like episode 9, whether they'll revisit again.
That's Coruscant, right?
Yeah.
Coruscant
Were they
still exists.
Anti-Empire, though? Like, were the Empire evil? Like, there would have been sympathisers. There's a lot of people celebrating.
There's a lot of sympathisers still in the
The
galaxy.
Naboo stuff got put in the Blu-ray because when the special edition came out,
Yeah, that makes
there was
sense,
no
though.
Naboo.
And at Cloud City, like at the end of Empire, they said we're going to put a garrison here on Cloud City, so that would have got rid of that sort of oppression. I would have understood.
Like, this music's not as bad as Jedi Rocks, but it's just not as good as Yelp.
It's the Peruvian panpipe. It's when you get the guy with the little whistle in the shopping centre.
In a poncho.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants Enya.
No.
No.
A bit of a
Mysterious
party
Cities
going
of
on.
Gold.
So interesting, some dancing.
I remember Steele Saunders once referring to this as a clap party, and I thought, yeah, if they hook up with the Ewoks, I like clap.
I'm not seeing any drinks.
Wedge is just standing there.
Yeah, we just awkwardly standing like, well,
just
I don't know
I was in
anyone.
every film.
Was this standing like, I don't know anybody?
Don't you think the Ewoks would more have magic mushrooms?
I'm not
and
seeing any
drugs
upper
and
management, though.
stuff,
I'm not
but-
seeing any Admiral Akbar or Mon Mothma or... Oh, there's Prune Face dancing in the background. I've never noticed that. Oh, God, I want to go back again.
Is Captain Zuvio in there?
Yeah, I don't know why he felt the need to make this music. I like Hayden, actually, in this scene. I don't want to look at
Sebastian Shaw.
I can understand why he'd feel aggrieved because he's now been taken out of the movie, but I don't mind.
With the
Hayden
Luke,
being
you're
in
like,
there.
who is that guy? Is that what he's
Who's
like?
that? Younger.
And there it is.
And Billy D's half-assed clap there.
What is that clapping?
He's been clapping all day.
It's like take 30.
Yeah, take
I was like,
30.
I've had enough of this.
So there you go.
It's
Return
a great
of the
movie.
Jedi.
What a movie!
What a movie.
Loved it.
That absolutely flew by. Like, I know we've just clocked 2 hours.
I mean, I remember being at the cinemas. It was full. I don't think it was even opening weekend. It was like friends of my sister's family took us.
Makes you want to go out and buy toys.
And I was just like, it was solid. It was in the city. We were walking out. Everyone was buzzed at the end of it. Then my parents got shot. And I became Batman. No, just kidding.
I was like, where are you going?
Batman. I'm like,
And
where are we
pearls
going?
dropped and hit the
Like,
floor.
wow, this is the time. He's never spoken about his past before. And for some reason, this is the moment.
So has Ian McDiarmid done anything else? Or is this it? I mean, it's a
popped up
great
in
career to
things.
have.
He's done a lot of theatre.
Yeah, he's in a couple of Tim Burton things. I think Tim Burton likes him. He pops up in Tim Burton stuff.
Yeah. It is a remarkably good movie. And anybody that doesn't like it, I just can't correlate because I always talk about opening an issue of a Star Walking magazine. And it was the first one I had gotten. And in the editorial, I can't think who wrote it, he's attacking Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, this is my Star Wars. Like, what are you talking about? But then I was thinking, it's an older Star Wars fan that's writing it that watched A New Hope and watched Empire.
When you
and didn't
joined,
dig
was
with
the
it.
prequels out?
Yeah. Oh, this was just like a couple
Because
of
I remember at the time of when there was only 3, that was the one to shit on. If you're a fan, because it was, rehashing, had Muppets in it, blah, blah, blah. So you only had 3, so you got to pick on one. For some reason, you can't love them all. You have to pick on one of them.
Isn't it funny that you'd view Muppets being in something as a bad thing, whereas Muppets makes
it just
everything
never
better.
occurred to me that you had to shit on any of them. Like that was it never that would even be a thing. But like, it just shows that there's just been discourse forever. Like, I just wonder, will there
It's
be
not
a day?
new.
Like, will there be a day that you just go like, oh, this is the moment that they just lost me?
Because, I mean, I love the Marvel movies and everything, but people have got to shit on them. Iron Man 2 or Thor 2, they can't.
Which are both perfectly fine films.
Yeah, but let's be honest, the Marvel movies aren't as good as the Star Wars movies, Mitch. It's just how it is.
I can love them both.
You can, but Star
There's
Wars
no rules.
But Star Wars is better.
Wow, that's killed it. Well, at least you
It's
came
not
to that
the Halle
conclusion.
Berry Catwoman film. Nothing as good as that.
Nothing's as good as that. But yeah, it's at that time the fact that they did 3 movies that good that would spawn into what we have now, it really is incredible. Like, George Lucas cops a lot of shit and he had a lot of help, but what he did spawn has genuinely shaped a whole generation. And And hopefully we get plenty more of it to come.
Well, the thing with these films, like Star Wars was a little independent film, really. All the money that was spent on the film was on the screen. And we didn't see anything like that. And plenty of people copied. And no one got even close. And then with Empire, they spent the money again and made a bigger film. And by Jedi, it was huge. And you looked how many spaceships were on the screen at once at the end.
Yep.
And no one, for years, got close to that. Like every time there was a new sci-fi movie coming out, it's like, oh, please be the new Star Wars. I want to see more of this. And no one even tried or got close.
That's the thing I think with George is he was also coming from a filmmaker's perspective of advancing the genre, advancing technology. And that's why I think with the prequels, George marveled a little bit too much on what he could do. And where people that grew up with the movies were attached to the story, where George was like, I'm going to forward technology and I'm going to like expand everything what we're doing. You know, the idea of all digital to George is this cool new toy, where to fans it was like, but what about this connection to this? What about the fact Leia says I could, you know, feelings really with my mum? How could she remember her mum? George wasn't thinking about that. George was thinking about this cool technological marvel he did. And I think even with the sequel trilogy, George, when he talks about he felt the movies were safe and didn't break new ground, I also think he means in terms of technology.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the like making of books of these first three, I've read those. And there's lots of like transcripts, especially Empire and Jedi, and some of them like especially Irvin like thrashing out a scene. There's like 3 pages of like him and Billy D and Han talking about like, okay, you're in the chamber, like, okay, well, how am I feeling? Is this going to do this and do this, do this? I just don't think like the prequels are just like one draft out, done. Great work, Mr. Lucas. Let's shoot this fucker and let's get going. You know, like they didn't have all the hands on it. So here you go. Jedi Rock's composed by Jerry Hay.
Boo. Sorry, Jerry.
Sorry. I was just looking at that going, I don't know anything about Jerry Hay. Where's my phone? I haven't had to, normally I rely on
Justice for Snoodles.
Release the Snoodles cut.
John Knoll right up there. It's... well, we're about to see the equivalent of Return of a Jedi in the sequel trilogy. I think we're going to get our happy ending. Hopefully,
I think so. Nostalgia will find a way.
We'll get a celebration. Do you have a species wish, Mitch, to host a celebration? We've had Gungans host a celebration. We've had Ewoks host a celebration. Who gets to host a sequel trilogy celebration?
I don't know who's in there anymore.
Who's left? Where are they? It depends.
Those crystal foxes. Let them have it.
Maybe Claude or something will throw a party.
I think you have to end with a party, don't you?
I think so.
At the diner.
Oh, Dex.
He's doing the catering.
Yeah, he'd give you a lousy hot dog. I'd be all right. I'd be
in more ways than one.
John Williams is one of the biggest stars of this thing.
He is.
Yeah.
It won't be the same without him.
Seeing Return of the Jedi, I've already told you guys, seeing Return of the Jedi tomorrow with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. So I'm actually watching this twice in 2 days. I can't remember the last time I watched Return of the Jedi twice in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Back when it first came out on video.
Yeah, it must have been probably.
Well, at least now you'll be
probably able to... took 3 weeks to get it when it was available.
You'll be able to focus on the orchestra and not care so much about what's happening on the screen, and you'll be able to watch that. Don't forget that framing shot.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, look at this. Look, you can see Pruneface dancing in the back of the on the Endor party.
But the changes watching that, because I've watched the despecialized versions by choice for the past few years, just because I'd seen the special edition so much. The special edition in this didn't bother me quite so much, apart from the glaring musical cues and the no.
Yeah, I think they're the two that get to me the most.
Yeah, but yeah, still love it.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks. A pleasure, guys, for coming over and indulging. You know, I think this is your first commentary track, and you know, I'm a bit surprised actually, because it's good times. You don't take it too seriously. You have a bit of fun with it and stuff. But
well, the Geek Dudes are very serious. This is a bit of a loose for us.
Yeah, no, I was a little bit worried. I've never sat there watching a movie and just shooting.
Because we get loose if we just talk, but we were very aware that there was an audience.
And we're also aware of Star Wars Spelt Out listeners don't want to hear the Geek Dudes version of Star Wars Spelt Out.
I think we pleased everybody.
We had a balance.
I wouldn't have invited you guys over if I didn't want the real thing, So, yeah, we kept it on topic, but at the same time, you guys were able to express yourselves, which is important.
And you can tell that it's a good movie when there's a couple of fat dudes in Josh's lounge room and the food was barely touched. The drink was barely touched.
The amount of food that got brought over and beer, and we've had half a bowl of popcorn and a couple of beers, and that's it.
But that's also how you podcast well, people, is not eating into the microphone.
I think I might have done it once or twice, so apologies to everybody.
Thanks for having us, dude. It was good
no
fun.
Worries. Do you want to plug away your stuff? I mean, who doesn't know
He's the plug
anyway?
here.
Do I have to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been able to plug for a while. You can hear that talked about on the Geek Dudes podcast. You can find us on social media at Geek Dudes, Instagram at Geek Dudes, and Facebook.com/Geek Dudes. We're pretty much just three guys that are very open-minded and very free-flowing that talk about love, life, and geeky things. If you're easily offended, we're not the podcast for you. Listen to Star Wars Spelt Out and certainly buy his T-shirts. But if you want to listen to a bit of a dirty good time, I think that's what we give you. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Criss
And
Fresh.
every other Star Wars podcast at the moment.
Well, apparently I'm on quite a few Star Wars podcasts, and you can find Mitch at Blockbuster J
on the Twitters and the Instagram.
Don't ask me what that means because we don't know.
Nothing.
It's a ridiculous Twitter handle, and you should have thought about it more before you did. And Josh, where can we find you?
At StarWarsSpeltOut.com, Star Wars Spelt on Twitter, and Chapman Josh if you just want to follow me. And if you're into Peppa Pig, I do a Peppa Pig podcast with our buddy Matt Frost. So if that's your bag, much more popular than this, but we haven't done any Peppa Pig commentary tracks yet. But the Peppa Pig movie is a thing, and we might be doing it. So
it's a thing. When?
Yeah, it's been and gone. I saw it in the cinema.
Oh. Wow!
With my 4-year-old. So
I'm glad I dodged that bullet. My kids weren't aware of it.
Where's the Hey Dougie movie? That's what I want.
Oh yeah. Well, where's the Bluey movie as well?
Woof.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
No worries.
Yeah.